Gamecock, Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Good morning, early game crew. It's draft day. What were those Drake lyrics? Draft day, A. Wiggins, Johnny Manziel, and then, 10 years later, none of that aged particularly well.
Kind of like Drake. But anyway, you don't know what side. If you know what side of the scuffle I was on that one. But yes.
I think there's only really one side of me on that scuffle.
That's why you're my brother.
If you're on the other side, then I have more questions than answers. Mm-hmm. It's the early game. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And no, we will not be breaking down that beef that happened a couple summers ago that should have ended the popularity of one Aubrey Graham. But there's still a lot to get to when it comes to draft day. And today is the first round of the NFL draft. We're going to be talking a lot about that. Our man Langston Ward's going to join us in the second hour of the show. And not only will we be drafting day 3 picks of the best day 3 picks in the history of South Carolina football, but Langston's going to share his experience about being a day 3 pick in the NFL draft, which I guess when he was getting drafted, it was a day 2.
Correct.
Back when they only had 2 days of the draft.
Day 3, inflation adjusted.
Yes, inflation adjusted. Langston was a day 3 pick.
Yeah, we also only have 2. Now we've inflated the draft to 3 days, and so now it's day 3.
What was that second day of the draft? Was that used to be rounds 4 through 7? Did they do rounds 1 through 3 on the first night?
That's a great question. I really don't remember.
So if I'm not mistaken,
I feel like 4 through 7 makes more sense on the second day, and the second day was usually Sunday. That's Sunday, yeah. Yeah,
like that was usually Sunday, and Saturday early in the day was the first few rounds of the draft, if I'm not mistaken. And it used to go on. Seemingly it was on TV forever.
All day.
Yeah, that was an all day sort of thing. I kind of like it better now.
The highlight of that time, especially during that time was when you was playing, is that you would not want to show up on somebody's highlight reel. So you'd be watching somebody's film and they'd be like, Jabbar Gaffney, look at him. See him catching a touchdown and Williams Bryce be like,
we made the highlight reel.
Don't do that to us.
Oh, I remember, a couple of years ago when Ricky Pearsall got taken in the first round by the 49ers, and I think half the clips were the game he had here, and I was like, oh, remember that. I remember that play.
What was... Guys, naming dudes. My guy from Arkansas. Why am I blanking on?
Darren McFadden?
Yeah.
Well, because he ran for 300 yards against South Carolina. You could have just put on that game while talking about him, and then you would have gotten the gist of how good Darren McFadden was.
And that happened.
Which is remarkable considering how many teams he did that against, right? He did that to everybody.
Correct.
That guy was so good at Arkansas. He did that to everybody. He just did it to you at a larger scale.
Premium.
Yeah, at a premium. You got the Darren McFadden experience. Mm-hmm. Just think about that running back room for 1 second. Preston Thorne, Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis.
Solid.
And all 3 had at least some highlight in their NFL careers.
Yeah. They were all very good. And not that we're getting into talking about the running back room, but this is an easy segue, though, because that's what I love out of a running back room. I need to have different pieces. I need you to be able to do this, you to be able to do this, you to be able to do this. That's what makes it a room, because none of those dudes were fighting for the general number of carries, but they never had the same carries.
They were all different.
All different pieces. And so that's what I would love to see out of our running back room this year. I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of those guys coming in, but I would love to see. Yes, somebody is one. We're presuming that's Matthew Fuller right now. But the 1A and 1B are 2 totally different dudes who have different skill sets. That's what I would love to see.
It was kind of like the Tennessee Titans for a while. Chris Johnson and Lindell White.
Exactly.
Smash and dash is what they called them.
Same sort of idea. You want to have a guy that you can put in every scenario, but one dude is better for this and one guy is better for that.
Well, especially if you're running a lot of, mixed plays like RPOs and stuff, you get guys that are really good at running in between the tackles, or they can both do that, right? That way, if one guy's in the game, it's not obvious what you're doing, but still being able to give different looks to a defense, maybe somebody who can take a pitch to the outside or who's really good at reading certain blocks. Like that Arkansas team is maybe like that, I think that was what 2007. I think was that the peak of that Arkansas bunch, that core. They played together for a few years, but I think that team specifically, that era of Arkansas football, is maybe the best example that you might have of how to actually, divvy out carries, and it helps when you had 3 NFL dudes.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we're not getting too deep on Arkansas law, but I know Darren McFadden was from Arkansas, and I believe Phillies Jones was too. So the idea, like, they won very similar to what we have to do here. We have to win in-state battles. When a dude like that comes along in your state, you have to win him and put him in a spot where he can rise the program up. And that is true for places. And a lot of people have made the comparisons between us and Arkansas sort of being twinsies.
Yeah.
In stature, spiritual twins as far as the SEC is concerned. So, yeah. Anyway, shout out to Arkansas.
Early winner of that running back trio, and we get that series back.
When we went to Little Rock, getting off the plane, looking halfway groggy, long flight, very far away. Looking to my right, Jared Jones. Hey, what's up, man? just hanging with him and Luz, just hanging.
It's like, Jerry, what are you doing here?
What you doing here? Yeah, man.
First sneeze of the day at 6:06. I'm not going to lie. I have been house sitting for a cat. I am allergic to
Okay.
them. And if I do not take that allergy that medication, I will go there and I will leave not being able to breathe.
Gotcha.
Not being able to breathe. It is absolutely brutal. But I am really excited, though, that the idea of South Carolina restarting the Arkansas series, that game is on November 14th in Fayetteville this year. I don't know what the arrangement is off the top of my head as to when they come here, but I think those two teams should play each other every year because they are spiritual twinsies. Because they're essentially, I don't want to say the same program, but they're very similar.
Lots of similarities.
Yeah, came into the league at the same time. They kind of have a similar type of recruiting base. Like they try to really nail the in-house evaluations. They're a little similar when it comes to, I guess, who they are as athletic department programs.
Would Brett Bielema be our Will Muschamp? Is that the?
Ooh. Well, so Will's best year was what, 9-4?
Yes, all gas, no brakes.
That was all gas, no brakes, 9-win season. I'm curious what Brett Bielema's best season at Arkansas was. If I could, definitely did not spell that man's name right. We're getting the crack staff on it, but I think you're onto something.
Okay.
I think you might be onto a certain comparison because he did not leave very ceremoniously.
No, it wasn't great.
Let's see. That would have been okay. Big Bert was there. Here's Big Bert's seasons at Arkansas: 3-9, 7-6, 8-5, 7-6, 4-8. So technically speaking, he never had the same ceiling, which was 9 wins. His is 8. But actually, I think we do have a direct parallel.
That's why we say spiritual twins. Kind of, not identical, but fraternal, for sure.
Yes. It's one of those, it's like, I think we need a DNA test. I think you guys might have the same father. That might be the wildest Maury episode anybody's ever seen. Southwest Conference, you are the father. What? Oh, man. But then this weekend, too. So starting tomorrow, on the diamond, South Carolina's got Kentucky. Not breaking it down too deep, right? But something to at least bring up. Are we on winnable series watch?
I think we should be. From everything that, and then not necessarily based on us because we just got swept and we know how the season is gone. But Kentucky is a team that can be beat at different stages in our program's life. We should be beating a team like this. The only thing about Kentucky, from my understanding, is that they do a lot of the small ball things. They kind of like that buzz, like a gnat flying around. They kind of get on your nerves a little bit, which I have no problem with it because I'm wholeheartedly in with teams who having an identity.
They certainly have.
And if that's what it is, and if everybody else hates it but it's successful for you, that's cool.
And they certainly like to chirp, too. When Nick was in here yesterday, he was talking about being at that series a couple of years ago. I remember being there, too, where it got a little testy. It got like college baseball testy, which is just like dudes yelling at each other from their dugout. Yeah, as testy as college baseball gets. They don't throw hands like they would in Major League Baseball. And even in Major League Baseball, they don't throw hands like they used to.
Correct.
But it did get really testy. So there was definitely some spiciness there when it comes to the Kentucky series. Then last year, the Kentucky series in Lexington did not go well at all. And if you read the John Whittle story, that was where tensions might have reached its peak last season.
Was that the series where they couldn't take a shower?
Yeah, they changed. They were reportedly changing outside the bus. That was one of the paragraphs in that story where I was like, "Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be thrilled with that either."
Not cool, man. Not cool.
Yeah, Coach, I know we didn't.
This
play
ain't high
well.
school anymore, man. Come on, man.
If I don't bathe after this game, I'm going to stink.
Got on a flight with no shower.
Coach, you know you're on the flight with all of us, right? You never have to smell us on the way back.
He's like, I'm up here, y'all are back there.
I'm sitting on the front of the plane. You guys are back there. We'll pass around the stick of Old Spice or whatever, and you guys can replenish that way.
Listen, there's only one key. I keep harping on it, man. Stop striking out. To me, it starts and ends with that. 44 strikeouts last weekend.
40.
I would imagine, even if you cut that down to half, you still at 22 strikeouts, was still a very generous amount. I don't know if that's still going to be able to get you a win. They need to cut down those strikeouts dramatically. I don't think we're going to see 18 in the game like we did last Saturday.
Or average 14 in a game in a 3-game series.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but we need to here's my ask. You know how the doctor's like, hey, listen, I know you're not going to stop eating sweets, but can we just have one donut, maybe not 3? And you're like,
can you limit yourself? Can we do some harm reduction?
Negotiate a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm going to negotiate with them. I know we're not going to stop striking out, but can we at least keep the strikeouts under double digits? That's what I'm asking for.
If my doctor said, Elijah, I want to need you to stop, can you limit it to 1 sweet per week? I'd be like, I don't know if you realize what you're asking me to do.
Tall task, my friend.
Can't do it.
Somebody who ate half a cheesecake last night. I don't know if I can do that.
Well, you did that because you were trying to get the probiotics out of the cheesecake because you're dealing with cat allergies.
That's right. You know
and
what?
Protein.
Protein
Everything,
cheesecake.
it's all about protein now, so.
I'm bringing Jen everywhere as my official spokesperson. So my doctor's like, Elijah, we need to really watch the sweet intake. Jen can be like, well, actually, because of the cat allergies, he needed to eat half that cheesecake.
So that's all I'm prescribing this week. Dr. Preston is only prescribing, hey, listen, man, less than 10 strikeouts per game.
Can we get a little harm reduction?
That's all we need. And we'll see where it goes from there.
I think that certainly that would give you a chance, because I think this is an incredibly winnable series. Again, Kentucky has not won an SEC series since their SEC opener, which was March 13th to the 15th against Alabama, and that has been a series win that has aged gracefully. And then, at Ole Miss, 2-3 got beat. At LSU, 2-3 got beat. That one did not age gracefully. Lost Missouri 2 out of 3 times at home, and then lost 2-3 against Auburn. No shame there, top 10 team. And then lost 2-3 against Vanderbilt at home. And this is not a great Vanderbilt team. Vanderbilt's 25-17.
I think we're going to have the same conversation that we had about football, where the rest of the country, where we think we're really good in the SEC, the rest of the country is like, I don't know, man. Like, we keep building up as parity. We're beating each other up, all that SEC schedule. And the rest of the country could be looking at SEC baseball like, are you?
Have other leagues might have caught up a little bit?
I think I see some very similar parallels to what the same conversation we were having during football season.
And I don't know how much we can actually use the NCAA baseball tournament as a gauge. I think you can use the baseball tournament as a better gauge of that than basketball, because basketball is single elimination all the way through. There's a double elimination element to it in baseball. But I think if you don't kind of dominate Omaha like you have in the last few years in terms of getting teams in, then maybe that's a conversation that we could have. It happened last year a little bit too. You had a lot of teams that got in last year, and not as many as you would have hoped get to the College World Series. But coming up next, it is draft day, and I know Brandon Cisse has been the player that's been discussed as the best Gamecock defensive prospect that's in this draft, the one who's talked about as maybe being a first-rounder. But is Jalen Kilgore maybe the better overall NFL draft prospect? We'll give you our thoughts, and we'll answer that question coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
South Carolina men's head basketball coach Lamont Paris is coming back next year, and Coach Paris has to fill out his roster, so the transfer portal will be vital to success in 2026-27.
All this isn't about just NIL. I think there are a lot of components to putting a team together. How do pieces fit together? What does a player play? The fashion and style of ball that you would like roles are important.
And the game will dig into every player. Even what they ate in elementary school. On your home of everything Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game and The Game Network. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
It's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Had a neighbor who's going to do some remodeling in their house, and they said, we know you went through a bunch of that when you redid your kitchen. Who did you use? And I said, there's only one place to go, and it is local in Lexington. That's CHW Cabinetry. And they were great for us, helped us figure out what we needed in the kitchen, got the photorealistic rendering of the kitchen when it was all, what it would look like when it was finished. Very helpful there. But I reminded them that they can help you just do some general updates. We had to replace a couple of cabinets in a couple of bathrooms. They were able to help us with that. They can change things in your closet, maybe make it a little more functional, get rid of those wire hanging racks, put in some drawers, maybe put some drawers in your pantry, make a new office workspace. So many creative ways for CHW Cabinetry to help. Check them out, chwcabinetry.com, or call them at 803-520-6837. Tell them Jen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Hey, that was our exit. We're going to miss the first pitch.
Just got to make a stop at Kroger. I promised I'd bring nachos.
Nice. You have the Upside app too, right?
Upside? What's that?
Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you buy groceries. And they just added Kroger stores in Columbia.
Wait, I can get money back just for buying groceries?
Yep. And right now, you can get an extra $10 bonus on your first Kroger trip with the app. That's up to $25 cash back on one grocery run.
Even this Kroger store right here?
Yes. Now pull over. Let's get some cash back on those nachos.
Upside is now available for Kroger stores in the Columbia area. Download the free Upside app and use promo code FAM3 to get a $10 bonus on your first purchase at Kroger. That's promo code FAM3. Remember, use promo code FAM3.
Offers vary by user and location of participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game for AAA Heating and Air. Look, I know you're thinking about a lot of spring cleaning right now, but are you thinking about your generators? You need to be. Those things are vitally important when our power goes out. You want to make sure your generator is running great. At AAA Heating and Air, they're ready to help you. So call today or visit their website. Call AAAtoday.com and tell them Bill Gunner with 107.5 The Game sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Looking for a truck dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, your truck headquarters, proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're after a brand new Silverado, a tough pre-owned truck, or expert service, you'll find it all right here with a huge selection and the best truck deals around. There's no better place to shop. Visit HerndonChevy.com or stop by today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
If you need orthopedic or neurosurgical care, it's a big deal to you and to us. At Midlands Orthopedics and Neurosurgery, we offer easy access to seasoned physicians with the most extensive outpatient experience in the region. Whether it's joint replacement, a neck or back procedure, or injury care, you can trust us to provide customized treatment plans with easy access, great outcomes, and lower cost to you. Midlands Orthopedics and Neurosurgery.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Visit CordellCordell.com.
1201 Main Street, Columbia.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Taking a peek at the traffic conditions first thing this morning, and all moving along pretty well, so we'll take that. 88 today. It's going to be sunny, but there is a little bit of a haze and an air quality alert till about 8 o'clock tonight. There's some wildfires in Georgia that the smoke is making its way here, so just be mindful of that if you have breathing conditions. Sunny, 88 tomorrow, and 85 on Saturday with maybe some afternoon showers. Right now, though, a little bit hazy and 60.
With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It's draft day. And while Brandon Cisse has been talked about as the South Carolina defensive player that is slated to go the highest of any Carolina player, I'm not completely convinced he's the best one. I think Brandon Cisse is a really good prospect. I see a lot of potential there. I love what he did in his 1 year at South Carolina. But I think Jalen Kilgore is going to have the best career of anybody that is draft eligible from South Carolina this year. And I feel pretty strongly about that. So especially the more I thought about it, the more I thought about NFL readiness right now. And we'll play at 9 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, we're off the air at 9, at 8 o'clock. Teron Davenport from ESPN joined me yesterday, and I picked his brain a little bit, and he kind of confirmed, the nice little, not too much of a spoiler there. He kind of confirmed what I thought when it came to Jalen Kilgore. But here's my theory, Preston. If Jalen Kilgore had his 2025 season in 2024 with the injury and maybe the numbers dipping a slight bit, and he had his 2024 season this past season, he'd be talked about as a first-round pick.
Well, he would be talked about as a first-round pick because after the 2024 season, he was in the first-round projections. Remember, we was talking about all the different, it was Lenoris Sellers, Jalen Kilgore, all the Clemson guys, and some of those things worked out, some of those didn't. But all of those dudes were in the conversation because of the year that they had prior to it. And if I was a GM, I'd be doing my due diligence trying to figure out why this year happened the way it did, which, by the way, wasn't a bad year. It just wasn't 2024.
He didn't lead the SEC in interceptions this past year.
So that's all I would be looking, and that's how I would be putting my argument up to whoever was making the decisions. I would say, hey, this is a extreme value pick right here. The further he drops, the better off we're gonna look. We're gonna get him at a deal in the either second, third round, or whatever the case is. We'll get an extra year of that rookie contract. I think Jalen Kilgore is in a spot where the team that gets him is going to get a very good value for where he's going to get picked.
And I think the thing is, because when you look at a lot of the numbers or like the grades and everything, in coverage, it's not him. Like Jalen Kilgore and Brandon Cisse aren't too terribly far apart when it came to, percentage of times the receiver that they were defending caught the ball. I know that requires a lot of context, but if we just take that for what it's worth, 52% completion percentage towards Kilgore, 47.5% for Brandon Cisse. They gave up similar amounts of yards per reception. Forced incompletions were very similar. Like, it's pretty similar across the board if you look at, all of both of those guys. But I think what is really fascinating with Jalen Kilgore is his defensive versatility. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what NFL teams are really looking for a lot. If you're looking at, his, if you look like in the box, right? He lined up 157 times in the box, 497 snaps in the slot. 27 times on the defensive line, 44 times on special teams for field goal and extra point blocks, 10 times as a free safety. He even lined up 4 times as a wide corner. He's been kind of pieced all over the field. Now, he has his 2 main spots, which is the slot corner and then kind of moving up into the box. But I think he's proven throughout his career, not just last year. Like, this is really for just last season. I think he's proven throughout his career that he can play all different places on the football field, and that's kind of where the game is going now with incredible versatility. It's not just defensive backs. It's defensive linemen who can drop back in coverage. It's linebackers who can be rangy and be able to defend against, tight ends and running backs and maybe even a wide receiver if you have to. Guys who aren't going to be matchup problems for you defensively. And Jalen Kilgore is the one guy that I look at and I say, I don't think you're going to be a matchup problem for
He's the genetic answer to the mutation on defense to these freaks tight ends that they've been putting on the field for the last couple of years. Offenses have been evolving, and you have these dudes playing tight end, George Kittle-esque, who can do multiple things. They can line up inline tight end. They can line up in the slot. And you see that dude almost multiplying across NFL and college. Eli Stowers, I think, is going to be that guy right now, right?
Yep.
And so as a defense, you have to figure out what are we going to do because our linebackers are too slow, our DBs are too little, and here's where Jalen Kilgore comes in, and he can do both of those things at the same time. So if you're a defensive coordinator, you're trying to look for all of these Swiss Army knife type pieces, i.e. Nick Emenwari. Think about that defense that they had in 2024.
But
Clayton White had a lot of fun.
That explains why you win 9 games.
Yes, because they had a lot of dudes that could do things. And so if you have a Swiss Army knife that can man up a tight end and man up a slot receiver and also blitz, that is something that is extremely valuable on any defense.
And that's when it comes to comparing, Jalen Kilgore and Brandon Cisse. Again, I still think Brandon Cisse is slotted correctly. I mean, if he's a second-round pick, I think that's a good second-round pick for somebody. I do believe that they're pretty equal when it comes to what they can do on a football field, except Jalen Kilgore, to me, might be able to be more versatile and fit that very specific role that maybe Brandon Cisse doesn't do as well, even if Brandon Cisse is maybe a little better in man-to-man coverage.
Well, see, this is the thing. And if I was a DC making this pick, at best, your best defensive back can lock down a half of the field. That's great.
When you are that
good. Everybody is not that good. A player like Jalen Kilgore can play all over the field. You can piece him. You can put him in different spots. I keep saying it, but very similar to how Seattle Seahawks used Nick Emenwari last year. If you was looking for Nick, you would not find him in the same space on multiple plays. 2 consecutive plays, he'd be over here. He'd be on the right side of the field. He'd be lined up against the tight end. He'd be in the backfield blitzing. He'd be doing all types of things. And I think if you're a defense, that's a solid building block for any defenses moving forward.
And you hear all the time, it's a copycat league.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a player like Nick Emenwari, and if you just look at, snap alignment, he had so many all over those. So I'm trying to find the specific numbers for Nick. He lined up 359 times in the box, 449 times slot corner, 113 times on the defensive line, 46 times in field goal and extra point block, an additional 16 times at wide corner. That's the kind of prototype that you're looking for, is somebody who can do a bunch of those different things, because one of my favorite things to do when watching the Seahawks play this past year was when the defense lined up, seeing where Nick was and trying to identify what it is that they're going to do.
Not where's Waldo, where's Nick?
Where's Nick? Jalen Kilgore could do something very similar. And I know his ball skills are really good too, because you don't have a title of, SEC interception leader for 1 year in your career if you don't have really good ball skills and you don't have good, at least, anticipation and preparation to know where that ball is going.
Well, he had good enough ball skills that they put him back to return punts. He muffed one, but the idea that they thought he was good enough to go back there would go really far, as to say, like, oh, this dude he can judge the ball, he can make plays even with his legs.
Yeah, that's one thing Dane Brugler in his scouting report said, even though he muffed a couple, he was trusted enough to do that. And I think
look at me and Dane.
Same page. And you know what? You didn't body shame him.
I was going to say, at least I know you would not do that.
I would not do that. I would not do that. I won't do that. I might do that.
Reuben Bain, hair shape.
Okay, I'm not going to body shame him, but Jalen, I didn't like when you was going with the long socks this year. I didn't like the way you wore your uniform this year.
Shaming him.
I
Okay,
will
that's
fashion
different.
shame him. I didn't like the choice he made this year with his uniform. That's what dropped him down. They were like, oh, there, come on.
They said long socks?
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
I think it was supposed to make him look like sleeker. I don't know if it worked.
You don't know if they accomplished the goal there?
No, I don't think so. He looked better in your uniform in 2024.
They accomplished that goal a lot better in 2024. South Carolina accomplished a lot more of their goals in 2024. But if you put an over-under win total on this team, do you think they achieve it? Well, College Football News gave theirs, and it's really interesting. We'll tell you what that number is next.
Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Since that win at Clemson by the Gamecocks, things haven't gone well. And when things don't go well, it's time to look back on the days when things were well. Yeah. Let's spin back to the good old days on the Game Network.
The Gamecocks are making history in Cleveland. They'll be the 10th team, the 5th program to go undefeated and win the national championship. They will avenge their loss to Iowa from last year. The clock ticks down. 2 seconds to play. Celebration in Cleveland. Perfection wears garnet and black.
Game over. Gamecocks are in the Final Four. Now that's some good feels right there. From 107.5 The Game and the Game Network.
Are you looking to do some updates in your home this spring or outside of your home? Well, if you're looking for countertops, maybe some showers or tub surrounds, fireplaces, even custom hardscapes, look no further than Carolina Stone Craftsman in Chapin. Family owned and operated. You're dealing with the owners directly, not a sales rep. They've been serving the Columbia area for over 2 decades. That means they know the product, they know their customers, and they know the area. They are a full fabrication service center. So when I went there, we picked out countertops, then they cut, shaped, and installed them for us. And every step of the process was great when we got those new countertops and a couple of bathrooms. Projects coming up in your home? Reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman, 803-408-3456. Tell them Jen sent you. Carolina Stone Craftsman, beyond Columbia in Chapin, definitely beyond your expectations. Visit them online at carolinastonecraftsman.com.
Sponsored by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at truegreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The Colonial Life Charity Classic is coming to the Wood Creek Club right here in Columbia, May 14th through the 17th. This is your chance to watch the next generation of PGA Tour stars up close. Before Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler were household names, they were right here on the Korn Ferry Tour. This is where the journey begins. Every shot bringing them closer to the PGA Tour. Tomorrow's champions are teeing it up today. Get your tickets now for the Colonial Life Charity Classic.
Hey guys, Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central here to make sure your business and property parking lots are kept available from any unwanted cars taking up your spots with Schroeder's Towing. For instance, you're coming in hot to the game studios for your show and you park next door in an unauthorized lot with signage that was provided for free from Schroeder's Towing. Next thing you know, the show is in the books and your car is out of the lot. It really is that simple. That's a true story. Call Schroeder's today and keep those unwanted cars out of your lots. Online at schroederstowing.net.
Just dial pound 250 and use the keyword tow truck.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for AAA Heating and Air. You know, every homeowner's dream is a house that cleans itself, right? Well, we might not be able to do that, but what if you could clean your air without lifting a finger, even when you're sleeping? AAA Heating and Air offers indoor air quality products that do just that. These products work with your HVAC system to improve your home's air quality. Cleaning the air eliminates common household odors, removes allergens and pollutants, and can even improve sleep and reduce the spread of some viruses. And remember, at AAA Heating and Air, home comfort is their top priority. Call today to schedule a seasonal maintenance appointment. Let AAA Heating and Air's qualified technicians put your mind at ease with a thorough inspection and cleaning of your heating and cooling system. Join their popular AAA Comfort Club to take advantage of extras like flexible visits, added discounts, and priority scheduling. Let AAA Heating and Air take your comfort to the next level. Call 803-677-1500 and schedule today.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
There's a new kind of welcome waiting for you at the Haven Harley-Davidson. And right now is the perfect time to ride. You can ride home on a new 2025 Street Glide Ultra with 0 down and 2.99% APR for 36 months. Plus up to $2,000 in customer cash on select models. If you're looking for a place that rides with you, supports you, and knows what your Harley means to you, the Haven Harley-Davidson would be honored to be a part of your journey. Discover more at thehavenharley.com.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
We do have one accident to let you know about, and that is Olympia Avenue at Virginia Street. So be mindful there. And we do have an air quality alert till later this evening, about 8 o'clock tonight, because of some Georgia wildfires. So keep that in mind if you're going to be outside a lot today and if that could impact you. But mostly sunny, 88 for the high. Same for tomorrow. Right now we have a little bit of a haze from that smoke, and it is 60.
Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Six and a half. That is what College Football News says. Post-spring is South Carolina's win total to go over or under. 6.5. Just off the top of your head, Preston, because I know there's so much more offseason left. Would you feel good one way or the other about going over or under 6.5?
I think that's a very solid line because that's a good place to put it, line in the sand. I would feel bad about going under. I feel terrible about going under, especially in this year and this time. I would feel ecstatic about going maybe 2 games over.
If you went 2 games over, I think that I'd feel pretty good about that.
So if they put 1 game under, I feel bad. I'm in the dumps. 2 games over, national championship.
You achieve the goal for your season, which I think is fair, right? I think that's a very fair benchmark. Well, College Football News, they do their post-spring projected win totals for every team in the SEC. So they give you the line, right, of over under this amount of wins. And then they tell you what they think is going to happen. And their projected record for South Carolina is to go over 6.5, but not because they win 7 games, because they have been winning 8. And I found that to be pretty interesting. And if you look at their track record, so in 2025, so last year, their post-spring total for South Carolina was 7.5. They predicted South Carolina to go under because they had them going 7-5. Now, they went 4-8, so they went way under. They predicted them to go slightly under. So they were at least correct in that notion. In 2024, South Carolina's over-under was 5.5 wins. And they predicted Carolina to go 6-6, which is technically over. And they were correct in that one, too. Just they were over by a lot more than they thought they would go over. 3 games over that. So in the last 2 years, they have correctly predicted, after spring practices, the over-under in South Carolina's win total. So just using that as our guide here, this publication, pretty big on South Carolina achieving that and going 8-4 this season. They have almost certain wins as Kent State and Towson, duh. Likely losses they have as at Oklahoma and at Alabama. and their quote-unquote 50-50 games the rest of the schedule. So that's at Arkansas, at Clemson, at Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Texas A&M. So 8 games they say are 50-50 games.
Let me just, because I'm looking at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so they, at that 8-4 record, they're saying that they only lose 2 of those 50-50 games. All right, cool.
So going 4-2 in those.
Yeah, going 4-2 in the 50-50 games. I mean, you have to figure out which of those 50 games. I'm not necessarily. What does it say about them that they think Kentucky is a 50-50 game? Does that say more about us? Does it say more about what they think about the new coach? What are we saying here?
I think it might be a bit of the new coach, but also having no idea what they are. Because that's the hard part about a team like Kentucky. No one knows how they're going to be. Even when we get to trying to project these, at SEC Media Days, when we do deeper dives on teams' rosters and their schedules and things of that nature that you talk about before a season starts, Kentucky's still going to be looked at as one of the biggest mysteries in the SEC. South Carolina, maybe not as much. I have a feeling they probably had an easier time projecting South Carolina because of the amount of players that return. Now, even South Carolina has a level of mystery to them, right? And I think that offensive line is the mystery, capital T, capital M. And what that offensive line does will dictate whether or not this team reaches that, 8-win projection that College Football News has for them.
But see, here's the thing, and here's where we can talk about the state of the program or where we are, where Shane is in his tenure, how this is a year that's extremely important as far as continuation as the coach of the University of South Carolina, because they have 50-50 games against Arkansas with a new coach, Florida with a new coach, Kentucky with a new coach. All these teams have new coaches, and yet they're still having us as 50-50 teams against them. That doesn't bode well for us.
And strangely enough, Georgia, too, is a 50-50 game.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. I would not put Georgia in a 50-50 game. I would love to beat them. I think we can beat them. But 50-50?
I don't know about that. It would be more sense to me that Arkansas on the road is a 50-50.
And we're down on Arkansas until further notice, right?
I am very down on Arkansas. I don't know if I could be further down on Arkansas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 2-10 last year, and you bring in a coach that I thought was the most underwhelming hire in the SEC. I know how we talked about how spiritually South Carolina and Arkansas are very similar. Until I see proof of life in Fayetteville, I'm not going to believe there's any there, right? I'm like how probably a lot of people felt about Mars for the longest time, right? I'm not going to believe there's life on Mars. Great David Bowie song, too. Until I actually see it. I don't believe there's life in Fayetteville until I can actually see it. That one I would have as a maybe not almost certain win, because SEC games in general, all conference games, I don't know if you can say with 100% certainty unless you're a team like Ohio State, right, and you're playing Rutgers, that is almost certain. But you should beat Arkansas. I think you should still beat Kentucky by virtue of just I don't know what they are, and you get that game at home. And I think that helps. But looking up and down, too, I mean, I don't know what Tennessee is. I'm actually not really high on Tennessee from just, the preliminary research. I'm not crazy about what they have. Mississippi State, I don't know if I would consider a 50-50, too, because they lost a lot in the transfer portal. They're in a really weird spot with Jeff Lebby as head coach. Like, they have to kind of build their team differently than other teams in their league have to. I do think, though, if things kind of shape out the way I expect it to with some of these teams, that Mississippi State early on, I'm kind of I'm leaning heavy win. Kentucky leaning heavy win. Arkansas leaning heavy win. So that's 3 right there. Kent State, Towson. Tennessee, true 50-50. At Florida, I think is closer to 50-50, just because who knows how year 1 under John Sumrall goes. But even then, if you win those 2, that's 7 wins. But I found it interesting to see that College Football News had them going 8-4. I think that may be one of your more optimistic projections.
That is. And again, if we went 8-4, sign me up, put my Garnet glasses on, I'll order another pack in bulk. Give it to me. I'll take it. I'd be extremely happy.
Based off the last time that we ordered Garnet glasses in bulk, the second half from hell occurred in College Station.
I would do it. 8-4, let's go.
I would absolutely take that. I guess my question to South Carolina fans is, if you knew going into the season you'd be 8-4, are you still pretty excited about that? I think I would be. After the year you had last year, I think I would be. And also, who do you beat, right? If Clemson's one of those 8 wins, I think you'd take that. If you pull one off against Georgia or Florida, I think you would take that, right? Or even at Alabama, I think you would certainly take that. So there's a lot more context needed. But if that season goes the way College Football News says it'll go, then I think I'd feel pretty good about this upcoming football season. But there is one team on campus here at the University of South Carolina that not only has done a lot of winning, they had 0 outgoing transfers. What does that say about that program? We'll discuss coming up next.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today by dialing pound 250 and use keyword QC Kinetics.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
We have trouble again in Dallas. Stephen Jones said George Pickens won't get a long-term deal and they expect him to play on the franchise tag. Here's the problem. Pickens hasn't signed the franchise tag and his people have made it very clear that he doesn't have plans to. This is classic Cowboy drama. This is where they thrive. If attention is your thing, that's great, but eventually the focus needs to be on winning, and as the saying goes, winning comes at a price. Come that day.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I left the pizza box on top of my car before driving home. Not smart. Oh, and a semi just turned my deep dish into a thin crust.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the highlight of my morning. Hey, what's up? It's Island.
And I'm Josh.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit is that it's our go-to morning comfort.
You've got that nice golden fluffy egg.
With a soft, flaky biscuit.
Crispy bacon.
Melty cheese.
You want something quick, you want something convenient, but most of all, you want something good.
There's no better way to start your morning.
There we go.
Start off the morning with a Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit with Simply Orange Juice. Order on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy. Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support. All in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy. Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support. All in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
The early game starts with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Dawn Staley's South Carolina Gamecock women's basketball team, now that the transfer portal has officially closed, has 0 outgoing transfers. That is a rarity. Only a handful of teams in college basketball that do that, especially considering the transfer portal breaks its own numbers with entries year after year after year. It's kind of like the same way the Super Bowl breaks records with viewership almost, year after year after year. More people are entering this thing after their seasons, but this deep into it, Dawn Staley, no players deciding to leave. And I find this to be maybe more spectacular than in other instances. Now, I can't remember the mid-major basketball program that tweeted out. It was like Utah Valley or someone like that tweeted out that they didn't have any outgoing transfers. I'm like, that's great. That's great for them. They have some continuity. I love that for them because that means they're building something and the players have bought into what it is that they're building there. So they're just running it back with the same roster next year. That's cool. That's awesome. But maybe easier to do when everybody's kind of accepted the defined roles that they have. When you are an elite premier program of the sport, it can sometimes be hard to, when someone's not playing as much or they don't think they're going to play as much the following season, to be on board and they will go somewhere where they maybe have a different role or anything like that. I think what this tells me is that there are some players that know they're not going to be starters. I think a good chunk of them. I don't think Dawn Staley's telling everybody that they're going to start. That's kind of one thing that she does really well is she's not going to sell them a bill of goods when it comes to recruiting. But there are players that know they're not going to start, could start other places, but have all decided to come back. I think that 0 number in the outgoing transfer department says a lot about the type of program that's being run.
So that was my third thing on the list. So right here, I have clarity of role. So if you know what you're going to do and you know what you're going to be, it makes it easier to make a decision. It's not up in the air. Oh, it's about competition and we'll see when camp comes. Tell me what you think I'm going to be doing. Tell me my ceiling. Tell me my floor, and then we'll work from there. The first one in this world I think is obvious is that they are able to provide enough financial resources for money not to matter.
Yes.
Not that it's a thing, but that we can all at least take that off the table. So we're competing with everybody else. They're not going to get wildly outbid by anybody. They may here or there, but then that's where the other part comes in. Being able to win championships. If I'm a player, I want to make money and I want to win. And this feels like a place where you can do both of those things.
Certainly.
And that's that's all it really boils down to. Can you pay me whatever the market dictates that I should be able to get paid? It feels like they can do that here. And can we win games and win championships? And I think T'Niya Latson is the perfect example of that. She obviously could have stayed where she was, continued doing what she was doing, or went anywhere else in the country, but she decided to come here for the purpose of doing what ended up happening. She got to a championship game, further than she had ever been in her career. And I think that's you see that model and you're like, oh, that could be me. And the last thing I had here, preparation to be a pro.
And I was going to actually go there because Raven Johnson was interviewed with the Fever, about, so how's camp going so far? And she said, Coach was saying, got to focus on the little things, the little details and things like that. And she said, that's just exactly what Coach Staley always said. So it's like, okay, she's teaching in that manner to get them to the next level.
Yeah.
Because your coach has done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's done it and did it at such a high level, too, that she brought that with her to become the head coach here. And that's just built over time, too. I mean, you can look at the draft pick numbers of how many players she sent to the professional ranks. But I think maybe one of the best endorsements is her players talking about those same things that she would talk about in practice when it comes to media availability as a pro. I think that is maybe the best ringing endorsement you could have for your program. That not only, hey, look, are you going to win here? There's proof of concept that can get you to the next level, too, that you're going to be adequately prepared to do this, whether it's playing professionally in the WNBA or playing overseas. Like, you basically played in a professional program at South Carolina. And even if you're not playing a role that you can play somewhere else, it's still meaningful because you get to win and you get that preparation too. I think all of those things really make it to where this is such a unique off-season situation for this program.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then you just look around the W and you see the Gamecocks that are on those rosters. And then oh, by the way, the 2 highest earning women in the league happen to have Gamecocks by their names. That also goes far.
It goes really far. Again, like they become billboards for your program once they leave and have success at a higher level. And that's one of the reasons why, because you ask yourself why. You know, why would somebody who can play anywhere else? Like the Tanaya Latson thing is interesting because she had that relationship with Raven Johnson. But even on the surface, even if she didn't have that, that's still a move she might make too, because she could have played anywhere else and got a ton of shots. But it does say something about your culture and what you do inside your program if someone still is willing to take a back seat when it comes to playing time or shot volume because they just want to be a part of what it is that you're doing.
And I'm blanking on her last, Jordan Lee. Jordan Lee. I think that's going to be that same situation because she came from a good situation.
A great situation.
But she was like, I want to do this.
I think that maybe out of all this is what's more impressive. Getting Jordan Lee from where you got her from or not having any outgoing transfers.
There's going to be some tears.
Some thrown jackets.
Come on, Vic.
Now you got to play against your former player in Greenville next March, Vic. That's terrible. That's terrible. Hour number 2 coming up next. We'll ask the question, is it still worth taking a running back in the top 10 of the draft? We'll discuss.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
I had such a blast a couple weeks ago doing that play-by-play over at Pro Swing for their golf event that they had with South Carolina and Clemson baseball players. But for many reasons, not just because it was fun to hang out with the fellas over at Pro Swing, to hang out with Steven and the gang, but it's one of those things, too, where it is such a cool place to hang out and be able to get some swings in and use those Golf Zone simulators that are some of the most impressive pieces of technology that you will see. And if you are a big golfer, that is the perfect place to get more information about your swing, to be able to see how you do in different courses, because there's over 300 plus to get to choose from. And that doesn't even get to the lesson packages that are available too. If you're starting to get into golf and you want to improve your game, or if you're a lifer and you're looking for every single edge that you can get, the Golf Zone simulators and Pro Swing are here to help you with those lesson packages available and that free 30-minute swing evaluation. 803-592-3916 for more information, or you can always go to ProSwingColumbia.com to book online.
Sponsored by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Looking for a truck dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, your truck headquarters, proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're after a brand new Silverado, a tough pre-owned truck, or expert service, you'll find it all right here with a huge selection and the best truck deals around. There's no better place to shop. Visit HerndonChevy.com or stop by today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
So working the earlier slow down Olympia Avenue at Virginia Street. In your forecast, it's going to be sunny for the next couple of days, high of 88 today and tomorrow. Keep in mind that air quality alert until 8 o'clock tonight from those Georgia wildfires. On Saturday, we're looking for a high of 85, some afternoon showers rolling in right now. Bit of a haze, and it is 60 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And before we answer the question of whether or not it's still feasible to take a running back in the top 10 of the NFL draft, despite all of the changes to the game, we'll go out to the AAA Heating and Air phone line because Hank has wanted to weigh in, called in during the commercial break. Good morning, Hank. Welcome back to the early game, my friend.
Hey, good morning, fellas. I tell you, I was listening to y'all before the break, and you talk about the women's team and their success. There was a article that was going on yesterday, that South Carolina has actually 2 different WNBA teams that have 3 Gamecocks or more. The Atlanta Dream has 3 Gamecocks on it, and so do the Fever, because it's Boston, Raven Johnson, and Ty Harris on there. And the strange thing about it is on both of those teams, all 3 of their Gamecocks all have national championships. And so they were talking about the fact that I think South Carolina has like the most guards in the league. They're tied with Notre Dame for the most guards in the league from a single team. And they also, South Carolina has like 12 players. It's 12 to 13 players across the league, which is the most team are tied for the most out of any college team. And so that just speaks to what Don has done. And I thought about something that Preston always said, enjoy it because, you might not be in a time like this before. After I saw that Don was inducted into the Academy of Arts and Sciences, and the only other 3 names were like Margaret Thatcher, Martin Luther King, and I can't remember who the other one was. I said, you know what, Preston's probably right about that. We may have a successful coach, but we may not see a time like this again. I just wanted to throw that in there because I heard y'all talking about the millionaires, and actually South Carolina is the only team that has 3 millionaires because Alicia Gray that plays for the Atlanta Dream, who's widely considered the best 2-guard in the league in terms of scoring, is a millionaire. She makes $1.1 million, and those are all 3 from the same team. So it's easy. It's not easy, but it's a big selling point when you can have all that to throw out there.
Yeah.
I'll hang up. Good show.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate the call.
Appreciate it,
Hank.
as always.
The money, the winning, the, preparation that you get to becoming a pro too, and the coach that is iconic enough to be elected to the Academy of Arts and Sciences. What Dawn Staley's done at South Carolina is absolutely remarkable, and I don't know if anybody could have dreamed when they hired her that this would be the level of success that she got when she came to campus in, 2008?
Yeah.
Or having any coach here reach that level and have that level of iconic stature kind of behind them. It's pretty remarkable to see what they've done. And not only that, too, even some of your more iconic franchises, they feel like franchises, programs in college sports. Think about your Alabama football, Ohio State football, Duke basketball, insert college athletics program here that's been dominant in this college sports landscape, LSU baseball. Even they all have transfers out, right? Now, some of the rosters are bigger, so yeah, to be expected, but they still get transfers out, right? UConn men's basketball getting transfers out, right? Not a ton of them, but they've had some transfers out. To have none of them in your program, despite maybe better playing opportunities for those players other places, really says not just a lot about how much you win, but how much people want to be there.
Yeah, it just, as you said, it makes all of the sense that you would want to be there because you know you're going to win, you know you're going to be coached to be a pro, and also the idea that if money's not an issue, if the money is equivalent everywhere, then you have to win on other things. And that's why, we can always talk about this, we just need to offer more money, but then that's not going to be the deciding factor if the other squad has money too. So you have to be offering something else.
Especially if you're losing out to schools who are offering less money because they're offering you more elsewhere within the actual confines of the sport. I think that when we have the money situation, we're assuming that everybody is just going to the highest bidder. That's not always the case, right? It's just the same way with a job, right? I mean, there have been instances where you probably had in your life where you could have taken a job that was more money, but you wanted to stay closer to home, or you didn't want to move, or you want to work with a certain person, right?
Yeah, you just need to have enough money to be in the same conversation.
To where it's not a problem.
Right.
And if the money's not a problem, then you can make that decision based on other outlying factors. In terms of decisions being based on outlying factors, running backs used to be one of the more highly coveted positions in the draft. I think if we just go back and look at NFL drafts from,
yesteryear,
even, 20 years ago, right? So that's 2006 being 20 years ago feels a little odd right now. But you would see a lot more running backs that were getting drafted. It's kind of before we end up looking at not just value, but where the game was going, right? And the curse of 370. Where if you did have a bell cow back that you're giving the ball 370 times to, the next year they fall off a cliff. Really, only one running back in NFL history has been able to survive having 370-plus touches in a season and being the exact same they were the year prior, and that was Derrick Henry. And I don't think we'll ever see a running back built like Derrick Henry ever again. But if you just go back to 2006, Reggie Bush was taken number 2 in the draft, right? Lawrence Maroney was a first-round pick later on. D'Angelo Williams was a first-round pick. Joseph Adai was a first-round pick. That's 4 running backs that were taken in the first round of the NFL draft in 2006. We ain't getting 4 of them in this draft. We may never see 4 in a first round again, right? They'll get drafted, but just not in the first round because just the thoughts on the value of that pick has changed. This year, it's going to be pushed to that test too. And I think the last couple of years, you've had one that stood out so much that people felt the need to take them in the top 10, like Ashton Genty, Heisman finalist. Could have made a really good, case that he should have won the Heisman. Jonathan Taylor a few years back, Bijan Robinson a few years back, because those are guys that were talked about as the best running back prospect we've seen since enter the last one here. But there are a lot of people that you talk to in NFL draft circles that would tell you they think Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft. Like the best overall football player in this draft. But here's the thing, too. If you take a running back in the top 5, then they'll get paid almost as much money as other veteran players who have been around for a while, making that maybe not the most valued contract, right? With quarterbacks, it's different. But with running backs, you draft one of the top 5 where they're slotted. That value is so high because of that draft slot, it automatically makes them maybe one of the 7 or 8 highest paid players of that position. So that leads me to this, Preston Thorne. If let's just say you truly believe Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft, do you take him in the top 5?
No, I can't do it. Well, the value in the charts say that you probably shouldn't do it if there's somebody who's an equivalent. But again, if you're taking in the top 5, you probably have a lot of other things that you need to fill also. And if there's not a quarterback there, you probably need to look at whatever you need to do. There's probably a pass rusher you can get. Maybe there's an offensive lineman that you can get to block for your future running back. But if you're in the top 5, there's some other priorities that I think you should probably have as far as roster construction.
That's kind of like my biggest thing, too. Like, if you're a team like the Arizona Cardinals or the Tennessee Titans, you're really bad in the trenches, and that's why you are where you are. right? Like the Titans' defensive line has Jeffrey Simmons, and that's it. Offensive line, they could not block to save their lives. Cam Ward ran for his life a lot. The Arizona Cardinals, even when Kyler Murray was good, he was running for his life a lot. And they couldn't get a really good ground game because they couldn't block anybody. My thing is, what's the point of getting, making that type of investment in the running back room if it doesn't matter who's carrying the ball? You're going to get contacted 1 or 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Now, you said top 5. And being how I was a former Falcon fan last year, rise up.
You were.
Bijan Robinson was picked 8, which is not top 5. But I watched Bijan Robinson last year, and that was part of the frustration that Falcons fans had last year because you had this elite talent, an absolute weapon at any spot on the offense, and they just at times would choose not to use him. And so if Jeremiah Love is as good, but see, here's the thing. I don't think Jeremiah Love is Bijan Robinson as far as versatility is concerned. I think he's a very good bell cow type of back, but I think Bijan Robinson is extremely special. And so I would take Bijan 8. Still don't think I would take a guy who just runs the ball in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't think I would too. I mean, think about it. If Jeremiah Love was taken, let's just say at pick number 4, he'll be making $8.8 million for his first year. That is the rookie slot for a running back. And if I go and I look at who some of the highest paid running backs are in the NFL, you have your outliers, right? Like Saquon Barkley is going to be making a ton of money. Jonathan Taylor making a ton of money. Like $15 million for Derrick Henry, 14 for Jonathan Taylor, 12 and a half for Alvin Kamara. But then you get to like Aaron Jones, who is at $10 million. And then you get to James Conner, who is at 9.5. You're getting him in that ballpark of guys who are already taking up a good chunk of their salary caps more than any other position on the field. Or it's a value thing for me.
Yeah, you think about the value thing when you name Saquon and Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor re-signed. Saquon, the Giants said, I don't think so, which didn't work out well for them. But I wasn't mad at that decision when it came time to re-up for the second contract. Same thing with Jonathan Taylor. The thing about those running backs is they were so good on their first contracts. By the time you get to that 370 number or that second contract, it's like, I don't know if I want to do this. So why not just draft a guy later, pay him less early, and then by the time that second contract comes around, you can make a decision then.
Because here's the thing about running backs too. Because that slot is the same that you're going to make regardless of what position you take, like that is like whoever is taken at that slot at number 5 or number 4 is going to make 8.86 that first year. That's the rookie pay scale for that draft slot. It doesn't matter if you take a punter. It doesn't matter if you take a quarterback, whoever, right? Based on the guaranteed money, if you're the number 4 pick in the NFL draft as a running back, you're a top 10 paid running back in the NFL.
I'd be remiss to add right here that the reason why you can have a pay scale with agreed upon terms is because they have collectively bargained that between the players and the ownership. It's not just something that's happened. It's because both sides have decided that this is what they're working for the league. I just want to make sure everybody knows and understands that as we move towards other types of conversations.
I also want to point to the main culprit of this, which is Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford broke the system.
Sam Bradford got paid so much in his rookie deal that
the vets were like, no way.
Absolutely. That guy, no.
Look at his sleeves.
Not.
You see how baggy his sleeves are? No way. And so, so the vets came in and were like, we can't let these rookies get paid that much. And they all collectively decided, because they thought it was in their best benefit to spread the money out and do all those types of things. So anytime we're having these contract conversations, it's because of the NFLPA, the union, and the ownership have collectively bargained on this pay scale.
Yeah, and it works out really well for them. And when that CBA runs out, they can renegotiate that if they want. If somebody like Sam Bradford gets that much money as a rookie, they can say, okay, we don't like this. We're going to change this a little bit once that CBA expires. I almost want to call the rookie draft scale the Sam Bradford rule.
Sam Bradford breaks the system, and I think the next year is Cam Newton, I think. And he's like,
It was, yeah,
hey,
the very
man,
next year.
Sam Bradford got $100 million. I got $5 million. What happened? How is this possible?
Oh, imagine what they would have given Cam Newton.
They would have given Charlotte. Whatever you want. Take the city.
You own it. We're naming Charlotte, Cam Newton Town. You get to own the town, buddy. Congratulations.
Just looking up next year, Sam Bradford has $100 million, and you have to get slaughtered with the rookie bonus.
If you're just born 1 year earlier, you could have just gotten the draft one
That's all
year
right,
earlier.
because Cam got his in college.
He did. he made up for it, I would say, pretty well in that regard. But coming up next, it's the early game morning meeting. The first round of the draft is tonight. We've already done our all-time Gamecock first-round picks and day 2 guys. Who are we going to draft as the best day 3 South Carolina players in the history of the NFL draft? We'll do that. We'll also be joined by our pal Langston Moore, who is a day 3 pick spiritually himself, coming up next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Last year, I had back pain radiating down my right leg. The pain was so bad I was willing to cut my leg off to stop the pain. I could barely walk and had to stoop over when I did just to take pressure off the spine. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. In my professional career, I've represented thousands of people who've had herniated discs and issues with their neck and back, but never fully appreciated what they were going through until it was my turn. It's like trying to describe colors to a blind person who's never had sight. All I can tell you is it hurt like hell, but worse. My daily walk was gone, and that bothered me a great deal. Then I thought of all of you and how much more devastating this type of injury could be for you. My life stopped. I now feel your pain. Just know at Morgan & Morgan, we got your back. I understand. Morgan means more. Injured? Dial pound law.
Joe Sandifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
The Gant family with Pioneer Tree Service has been taking care of trees in Columbia and surrounding areas for over 48 years. Pioneer Tree Service provides tree and shrub removal, pruning and thinning, tree planting, cabling and bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding and removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, right-of-way maintenance, and more. They also provide 24-hour emergency tree removal. They can also handle the removal of diseased and dead trees before an emergency happens. Call them today for a free estimate. 803-794-8253. The Gant family and their team at Pioneer Tree Service can be trusted to provide professional and quality tree services with affordable pricing for residential or commercial jobs. Ashton Smith called Pioneer Tree Service and said they came when she was leaving for work, and when she got home, the tree was gone as if it was never there. She was so impressed with Pioneer Tree Service, she will definitely use them again. Here's one of the Gant girls, Madison Gant.
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Hi there, this is Steve Ard with Local Waste Service. The Ards have been in the waste business for over 60 years, and I want to introduce my new waste company, Local Waste Service. We are a locally owned company that provides front-end, roll-off service for all your waste needs. We also do recycling and compactors, so look us up at localwastesc.com. That's localwastesc.com.
Where your trash is our business.
The future stars of the PGA Tour are coming to Columbia. The Colonial Life Charity Classic is bringing championship golf to the Wood Creek Club May 14th through 17th. Be there to experience the intensity up close as tomorrow's champions battle it out on every hole. Bring the family and take in the tournament atmosphere, excitement, and a full week of entertainment built for all ages. Don't miss your chance to witness the journey to the top. The Colonial Life Charity Classic. Get your tickets now.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for AAA Heating and Air. You know, every homeowner's dream is a house that cleans itself, right? Well, we might not be able to do that, but what if you could clean your air without lifting a finger, even when you're sleeping? AAA Heating and Air offers indoor air quality products that do just that. These products work with your HVAC system to improve your home's air quality. Cleaning the air eliminates common household odors, removes allergens and pollutants, and can even improve sleep and reduce the spread of some viruses. And remember, at AAA Heating and Air, home comfort is their top priority. Call today to schedule a seasonal maintenance appointment. Let AAA Heating and Air's qualified technicians put your mind at ease with a thorough inspection and cleaning of your heating and cooling system. Join their popular AAA Comfort Club to take advantage of extras like flexible visits, added discounts, and priority scheduling. Let AAA Heating and Air take your comfort to the next level. Call 803-677-1500 and schedule today.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
We have a report of an accident, Percival Road at Clemson Road, also Hyman Road at Jim Rucker Road in Swansea. And on I-26 westbound, just after exit 129, the left shoulder currently blocked. So kind of try to stay to your right if at all possible there. Sunny today and tomorrow, highs of 88 both days. A reminder of an air quality alert till 8 o'clock tonight due to the Georgia wildfires. So that's what the haze in the air is all about. Come Saturday, with some sunshine that will then fade to some afternoon showers. 85 for the high, 60 right now.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Maybe the most fun morning meeting we're going to have in a while. Our pal Langston Moore joins us. We're going to do our draft of day 3 or rounds 4 through 7 Gamecock players, because this hasn't always been a 3-day thing. We're going to do that and a whole lot more for today's morning meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
Yeah, well. Which one of us takes Langston?
It's been a little pressure here.
Good morning, good morning, great today.
Song sounds way different. I'm usually at home listening to this. I'm like, all right, Elijah hit it. And
Good morning,
in the studio, it's a little bit different.
Today will be an awesome day.
Oh, yes, it will. And we're going to start off. Langston Moore, how long are you expecting to sit in this green room here while we draft these players?
Well, luckily, everything's been truncated down, so I didn't have to wait all the way from like Thursday to Sunday like I did way back in the early 2000s. Sounds like decades ago, because it was, Preston. It was 22 years ago. What's wrong?
It was. Now, my question for you is:
this dude did research. Jesus,
in this,
he's got notes.
In this particular draft, has your agent told you you're going anywhere in the first 3 picks? Because
first of all, I had a great representation. Same agent that Dante Robinson had, same agent that tons of stalwart, Jonathan Joseph, Coach Simpson, all the greats who have gone and done really high. I was the only outlier who didn't do right by my agent, so he did a good job of not giving me any expectation. Okay. He was just like, man, you're going to go well. And so, just like a good teacher, well could mean anything. You might pass this class, you might get an A, you might just sit back there and be quiet, and we'll make sure you get through this. And so he didn't give me any crazy unexpectations. Okay. Now, the NFL did me crazy expectations because I got some calls the day before, and I was like, it's happening. It's happening. Oh. But who calls you matters. It's like when you're dating a girl, right? Like, does her little sister call and like, oh, my sister wants to talk to you. Hold on a second. And I'm going to get her versus the actual person calling you, right? And I think I just had an assistant of an assistant from somebody, and they were like, hold on a second. We're getting ready to make a pick. And I was like, is it happening? And they're like, we'll call you back. And they hung up on me.
No, they're not calling back.
No, and they never did. Never heard from Seattle again.
It was Seattle specifically.
Not to name names.
That's right. That's right.
Do you find yourself
whoever that is probably the GM of like the Cincinnati Bengals or something right now. Because again, it was 22 years ago. So that person was probably from Flunky. Now he's a GM.
do the from pencil pusher, to GM. Like, who knows? They probably didn't even introduce themselves by name. They said, hey, Langston, this is the Seattle Seahawks.
Did not. Had a crackly little voice. It was, hey, Mr. Moore, we're thinking about taking you here. And I was like, first of all, I thought it was a crank call because that was a thing back then. Not everybody had call ID. It wasn't ubiquitous across the Nokia phones and flip phone. Well, I think it was a Nokia at the time, but yeah, they definitely didn't introduce it. It just said the Seattle Seahawks, and we're getting ready to take a pick here. Hold on a second.
Now, before we draft, when the Bengals actually did decide to select you, did you answer the phone on a Nokia? Was it a flip phone?
The landline?
I want to say it might have been the landline.
Oh, they called
it. It might have been the landline because I was at my mom's house again. Triple, Mama, we made it. But no, I was mad. At that point, I was like, let's go, man. And in typical Bengals fashion, they called it like, we're taking you right now. Hold on a second. I was like, oh, wait a second.
Let me make sure the TV's on.
Can we talk about this? I forgot the Bengals had a team. I knew Cleveland had a team. And it was crazy because that's one of the things going through the draft process. You're like, all right, maybe Seattle, New York. And then you see a 513 number. It's like, who is this? Oh, I forgot Cincinnati has a team. You're going to be there for the next 3 years. Congratulations.
And you get to go to Kings Island all you want.
All the soupy, watery chili you can have in one. We'll give it to you in the trough.
Yeah, how much Skyline chili was promised in the contract?
None of again, typical Bengals fashion. They will give you a bill for that. They will give you a bill, or maybe some day-old Skyline chili, because they have been known to give people day-old or slightly used undergarments when you ask for certain things. So, it falls on. It's very
clean?
apropos for what they do, man.
At least clean.
I hope they were. They were washed. But this is Preston. This is where college and your training comes in, because before Lou Holtz came here and changed over some different things, there was another gentleman by the name of Sheely, and he used to be our equipment manager, and it was very similar things at South Carolina. There were sanitaries then, and you'd be like, Sheely, let me get a sanitary, and he'd be like, here's a used one. And it had all the little lint balls balled up on it, so it was nice and frictiony. Somebody used it. So my college training prepared me for my Bengals training.
Yikes.
That happened, Preston.
Oh, Preston, you have the first pick.
First pick.
Who's going off the board?
First pick in the supplementary draft. I am going to go with my second favorite Gamecock player, Eric Norwood.
Oh, he's high on my board. Very high on my board.
The only man I've seen play in a stadium with his name on the stadium. The craziest flex I've ever seen.
That is a flex.
And not just the league, led the team in sacks and was still playing.
Not just playing, but dominating out there. I mean, there was this run during that last year. There was like, there's nothing Norwood couldn't do. He was picking it off, taking it back, sacks. I mean, just definitely my favorite Gamecock. Who was your favorite Gamecock? He's number 2.
It's tied for first. Dylan Thompson and Melvin Ingram.
Okay. Shout out Dylan Thompson.
That's right.
One of my favorites.
If your name is on a game, if you're the blank game, the Dylan Thompson game, and everybody knows exactly what you're talking about, then you have etched yourself into some pretty significant lore.
I mean, and as you say that, I'm thinking about, okay, is it Dylan Thompson the bowl game? Is it Dylan Thompson the Georgia inches a cinch, a yard is hard? I like to hit George Foster with that every now and again and just show him that picture. Or what else? The Florida game, the fake and the bootleg out.
That's true.
Brilliant call. I love Dylan. That was a great season that year.
Clemson game where Connor Shaw gets hurt and you come in and he
dropping
lights
dimes.
Up. Yeah.
Down the middle of that defense.
I think I'm going to go with the second pick here. I'm going to go with an early game favorite. Give me Co Simpson.
Ooh.
Good call. Ooh. Good call. One of my favorites. One of my favorite teammates. Code. I might have heard Cole say 50 words in my whole lifetime. Man, a few words.
But definitely a legend. One of Cole Simpson's biggest fans. Shout out Pastor Troy. Pastor Troy is always like, where that dude Cole Simpson at?
He loves Cole. That's his guy.
It's amazing. Again, Pastor Troy, a song that is very much well known across football stadiums. No more playing GA, all those different things. But it was interesting. He was like, man, where's Cole Simpson at, man?
Never had that boy Cole. I'm gonna go in the second round. I'm gonna go with a quarterback. Give me the Rat.
The Rat Man.
I thought I could wait. See, that's the part of drafts. You think you can wait for certain players.
Give me the Rattler.
I couldn't. Oh man, knew I should have let it fly early. Oh man. Okay, so I guess I'm going to stock up on defense here. Give me Jasper Brinkley.
Nice. Good call.
I believe multiple contracts in the NFL. I'll take Jasper there.
I'm going back to offense. I'm feeling good about this draft. Give me Pharaoh
Pharaoh Cooper, getting him in the 3rd round.
It's pretty solid. Another one of my favorite guys to watch. Pharaoh was fun, man.
You know what? I need to get points somehow. Give me Ryan Suckup.
Okay.
I'm just going to kick field goals.
The point man.
I like it.
Suckup feels like he's still kicking somewhere. Cause I swear about 2 years, because he's been out of the league about what, 2 years now. But Mr. Consistency for sure.
Friend of the show. All right, last round. Does Preston take Langston Moore?
No. Travell Warden. Take a glue guy. Sean Goddard. You need some character in that locker room.
I'm going to go with Roderick Wilson for the Chicago Bears.
Man, he with the complete boys. Oh man, he's a great guy.
You said character.
Yeah, good character. We need some characters too as well. No, that's a solid. It's going to be a very solid, respectable locker room. I know that for sure. Rod's going to have him right.
All right. So, Langston, you've heard my team. I got Coach Simpson, Jasper Brinkley, Ryan Suckup. My only question is, can you run the ball? If I give you the football, can you run it?
Can I tell my one football story, my one touchdown story? I ran probably 40. How long is a football field? 55 some yards. I ran 40 yards to get 1 yard in high school to score my only touchdown ever. So it's in me, but we're just going to have to do it the long way. I don't know. What's the kid from Navy that's getting ready to run? I'm not going to be as that efficient. I'm not going to have that much production, but I will be bumbling and stumbling like that.
He's on the Caden Proctor plan.
He is on the Caden Proctor plan. So my plan is we're going to take you, but we're going to get the coaching staff to get you to run forward, not side to side.
There we go. And this is where that's why you got to go through the pre-draft process. You got to endear yourself to a team. You don't know who it's going to be, but they might call you in the 6th round and be like, you know what? You don't have size, you're knock-kneed, you got the gout, but we like something about you, son. We're gonna bring you up here to Cleveland and make something out of you.
So that's why Langston Moore is our final pick here in the supplementary Gamecock draft. We have a whole lot more to get to with Langston, because coming up next, he's going to tell us about being a day 3 guy and his draft experience next year on the early game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 96.9 The Game in Charleston, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
We have a new way for you to call the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Just dial pound 250, and when prompted, punch in the keywords, the game. And that's it. Again, pound 250 with the keywords, the game.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, it's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are. School, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you, take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, Absolute Glass can take care of that for you, too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. You say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Sponsored by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Make your dream pool a reality this summer with Aquarian Pools of Columbia. Specializing in residential and commercial pool construction, Aquarian Pools of Columbia offer complimentary design services that bring your vision to life. Whether you need a new backyard oasis or your old pool needs a renovation, their expert builders are ready to deliver just in time for summer. With 54 years in business, if you can dream it, they can build it. Visit them online at aquarianpools.com or call 803-732-3636 today. Join the Lexington Health Foundation on Friday, May 1st at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center for the McDaniels Gala. Dress your black tie best and enjoy delicious food, open bars with signature cocktails, specialty tasting rooms, exciting auctions, fun photos, and more. Proceeds benefit the McDaniels Pucci Cancer Fund to support patients and families at Lexington Health Cancer Center from diagnosis to survivorship. Purchase your tickets today at lexhealth.com/McDanielsGala.
Hi there. This is Steve Steve Ard with Local Waste Service. The Ards have been in the waste business for over 60 years, and I want to introduce my new waste company, Local Waste Service. We are a locally owned company that provides front-end, roll-off service for all your waste needs. We also do recycling and compactors. So look us up at localwastesc.com. That's localwastesc.com.
Where your trash is our business.
Join Gamecock fans of all ages on Saturday, April 25th as you run, walk, or jog through Gamecock Park and the indoor and outdoor football practice fields for this year's Cocky Trot 5K and Fun Run and Walk. It's fun for the whole family, so don't miss out. Registration includes a commemorative race shirt and medal and access to purchase discounted football and baseball tickets. Register today at GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot. That's GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Full Send Golf. You guys know how much I really love golf, and I think every week would be dope to post on the Golf Channel. I want to get a lot of guests on here.
Salim's going to take lead. I'm down to be in it. It's not really work to play golf.
Join the party on the golf course. I was like, let's go to the range. So what are we putting on it?
We said 10K, right? 10K?
All right.
We probably bet more than all the other golf channels, right?
10K,
9 holes. Those guys bet for like cookies.
I feel like I'm going to shank it.
This guy's been training like a Navy SEAL when it comes to golf.
I'm very excited. You excited?
Yeah.
Full Send Golf. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot. Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Columbia Highway between Wise Ferry and West Main Street. There is an accident there. Also showing heavy traffic I-20 westbound between Clemson Road and I-77. Sunny today, tomorrow, high of 88 both days, but we are in that air quality alert until 8 o'clock tonight from those Georgia wildfires, so you're going to see that haze around today. On Saturday in the afternoon, could see some showers rolling in, continuing into the evening on Saturday. High of 85 overall. Right now, some haze, and it's 61 on 107.5 The Game.
With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Langston Moore is hanging out with us right now because, 22 years ago? Give or take 22 years.
Yeah, give or take 22 years ago. Yeah, that was there. And again, so long ago, they've reduced this thing down and made it more TV palatable. I mean, it was TV palatable back then. It was just kind of just like a rolling screen, but 3 days was super long, too crazy now. But they do it really right now. They do the whole first round Thursday, tonight, Friday, and then they kind of finish it up on Saturday, correct?
Rest. Then the rest, then the fringe.
Again, give us enough time to party before I got to come out there because again, they put you on a plane and don't matter who it is, you got practice in like 3 days after the draft.
So how long is it from you get the call to I'm in Cincinnati playing?
Sunday, I got the call, first pick of the 6th round. Sorry, Mama, you had to go back to work the next day. I was the first pick, but the money wasn't the same as a first rounder, second rounder, third rounder, fourth rounder, fifth rounder. A lot of money differences. And then Thursday they had the mini camp. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what I thought my agent was going to do, but I tell Preston all the time, I was still trying to take in class. Shout out HRSM over there. I was trying to finish up my degree. So I wouldn't go and come back because I knew once I left, I wasn't coming back to school. So I was still doing the deal where I was going to school like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so I had the rest of the week off, but I called my agent. I was like, you think there's a way that I can get out of, the rookie mini camp? He's like, my man, you the 6th round pick. 10th pick of the Bengals that year, so I think you might want to show up and go there. I was like, but I got school. He was like, okay. What do you want me to tell the bank? What do you want me to tell Mike Brown, that you're going to go to class and not go to? He's like, don't you even have class on Thursday, Friday? I was like, that's besides the point, man. But again, no, they give you that plane ticket and they get you right out there right away, and it's a 4-day Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you get about 2 weeks, and then it's the vet mini camp.
I know you joked that you forgot Cincinnati even had a football team at that point in time. Did they interview you, I guess, beforehand, or was it one of those things you got a call, you're like, wait, you guys?
I don't even remember them at our pro day. I had a bunch of interviews at the Combine, and that's always a really good indicator. Well, the interviews at the Combine are a good indicator who's interviewing you and the frequency of the interview. So I had a bunch of interviews, and the highest ranking one I had was the Cleveland Browns. Had everybody in there. Had Dave Campo, had the GM, had a trial lawyer in there who grilled me as if I was trying to date his daughter. Shout out to the Le Batard show yesterday. I don't know if anybody caught that episode, but it was a guy just like that whose whole job was to just grill you. And it was just, because you get 10 minutes in the room with every team. That's kind of like a round-robin dating type of deal. And they do this every night till 12 o'clock at night. Then you get up in the morning and do all your testing. Now, you might get up at 4 o'clock to do your testing, or 5 o'clock or whatever. But never got an interview from the Cincinnati Bengals, so I was just like, okay, I didn't expect this at all, but lucky me, that started me off in my illustrious career of playing for the worst teams in the NFL, 30, 31, and 32. That was me.
Somebody has to hold up the bottom.
I got to be the bottom somewhere. I'm strong enough. I can handle this, Preston.
Built for this.
As the kid said yesterday, I'm built for this.
God gives us toughest battles to his strongest soldiers.
That's right.
We always talk about projections, right? Because people, what were your you got drafted in the 6th round.
Yeah.
But what was your projection?
Way back when the interwebs didn't have Wi-Fi, it was still a little bit dial-up, but shout out to the HRSM. That's what I was doing in class during that time. I was Googling and using the internet.
You sit in class checking your draft projection?
Right. And there was like 5 places that you can go. I think you guys were talking about crazy draft grades and just like profiles. I will never forget. Shout out Sean Harville, our good friend from the Low Country, Carolina graduate. He would always read me this draft profile. He's like, he's built like a 4x4, but he gets tired like a 4x4. Doesn't have much durability. And when I tell you, it hurt so much because what they say, you spot it, you got it. They spotted me. They got me. They figured me out. He's like, he's built tough like a 4x4. Very stout, but he doesn't have much stamina. And when I see my homeboy Sean Harville till this day, he still hits me with the draft profiles. So.
Yeah, what would Dane have said?
What would Dane Brugler have said about Langston Ward?
Oh, man. So, but I want to say I saw 3rd round, 4th round, I was like, cool. I'd already did the math, did the money. Okay, yeah, we could do that. But I don't know if people ever remember this because timing is a thing. And just like this year, I wish I was a defensive tackle this year because that's one of the reasons why the Cincinnati Bengals pulled the trigger, because there's not much value after those first few defensive tackles. There may be 2. I don't even think they really should have those first-round projections. So, yeah, get out of that 10 spot and go get Sexy Lexi, man. And that's exactly what they did. But the Bengals and kind of what they did, I mean, I never expected to get drafted by them. But, yeah, I hit all the parameters. But that was the year the Miami Hurricanes had like 16 dudes drafted in the first 13 rounds. Jerome McDougal. Vince Warfolk was the next year after that. They had a plethora of guys, and they all – I jokingly say 16, but it was like 8 guys. Everybody from Victor Green. There were, guys you never heard of again, but they all went. And those were my spots, man. If we just got them up out of the way, if we just cleared out this housing market, Jen, I could have got the price that I wanted for it. It was just too saturated. But I endured long. I held out longer, Preston. None of those guys made it. I lasted longer.
There you go.
I lasted longer than they did.
Seeing those guys get drafted, it's like, that guy played 2 games and just wore a Miami helmet.
That's exactly right. But again, a very famous Miami team. I always joke with my buddy from the Ohio State Buckeyes, who ended up beating Miami that next year after we beat them those couple years. I was like, man, you owe me part of that ring because we beat y'all every year, 2 years in a row to show y'all how to beat a real team later on. So he never gave me that diamond or that Jostens ring or nothing like that.
Now, as a 6th-round guy, does it feel a little different from maybe Carson Palmer when he walks in camp as a first first overall pick as opposed to a 6th round guy?
Well, in my experience, the Bengals kind of treat everybody like,
they're cheap with everybody.
Yes, because again, if you remember that year, they didn't let Carson start. They kind of like put him through the paces. My favorite teammate ever in the NFL, John Kitna, was the guy, so he kind of was still coaching him up, putting him through everything. And they eventually let Carson start maybe one game towards the end, and then the next year, of course, and then that playoff game, Kimo von Oelhoffen falling into Carson's knee, and we lost. The playoffs were over after that. But no, they kind of treated us all the same, but, you know, Carson was the man. But it's very good to be drafted with the first overall pick because he's doing a lot of media stuff. So all your draft class, you're with him. When we went down to the rookie symposium as a drafted guy, you know, they treated us a lot better because Carson was the guy in our little pod versus, you know, pick number 13 to whoever. They were just like, yeah, you're not the dude. So shout out Carson Palmer, one of Manly's man, as we always used to say. I mean, has all USC quarterbacks, man, they all have that cut, that jawline, the media training. They talk to you like a mountain man in Old Spice commercial. Good dudes, great guys of the people, but you know they're USC quarterbacks at the end of the day, and they're all kind of fragile. So, but they're all super trained. They all come out of factory for sure.
So when Sam Darnold got drafted, you're like, I don't know him, but I know him.
I've seen that. I know that guy. I know he's going to be very. And Sam still to this day, you know, they don't want to. They try to like pour on the praise and different things. Sam's like, but I also know when Sam gets it, he's a great teammate, and I know Carson Palmer's a great teammate because we've had some epic times at his household. God bless his wife for letting us come over there and do a lot of those things and break that hot tub and all that different stuff, the dice games, everything. Again, you would not expect Carson Palmer to be hosting 2 or 3 illegal dice games in his house. But it was a great time. That's how you build a team.
Fellowship.
100%. And when we're getting ready to line up on 4th and 1, you look at Carson and be like, man, you remember when you didn't bet the money right on the 4 and the 6 on the dice game? And so those are the things that bring you really close together. And you got to have those moments, man.
We'll take a quick break. That way Carson Palmer doesn't get Chauncey Billups. But coming back, we'll get Langston's takes on this first round that's happening tonight. Who does Langston like? We'll hear from him coming up next.
Carolina head baseball coach Paul Maneri has been let go. Monty Lee is the interim coach, and possible candidates are already emerging.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. We're in week 11, and we're already talking about jobs. What a world we're in.
Keep it here on The Game as we follow every rumor. Girlfriend.
No fluff. No filler. That's good enough for me.
Your home of all Gamecocks gossip. 107.5 The Game and The Game Network.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
A dominant night in Loud City comes with a major asterisk. The Thunder rolled to a 120-107 win over the Suns to take a 2-0 series lead. But the story is Jalen Williams. J-Dub exited in the third quarter after aggravating a left hamstring injury, the same issue that cost him 30 games this season. SGA dropped 37, so that's good news. I'm Drake Toll.
Legendary doesn't happen by chance. It happens because it's what BetMGM does. Sign up for BetMGM using bonus code KOSTOS, KOSTOS, and you could receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Get into hockey, basketball, and more of your favorite sports with same-game parlays, live betting, and more. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This specific promotional offer is not available in Michigan, Mississippi, New Jersey, New York, Nevada, Ontario, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, or West Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
What are the chances you are listening to this while drinking a nice hot cup of coffee? If so, don't let me stop you. For years, we've been reporting on the health benefits of coffee, and that's not going to stop today. A new study, this one out of Harvard School of Public Health, found that coffee and tea could help lower your risk of developing dementia. People who enjoyed 1 to 3 caffeinated cups a day saw the biggest impact. In addition to the caffeine, coffee contains hundreds of bioactive compounds that can influence inflammation, glucose metabolism, vascular function, and oxidation. oxidative stress. It's also possible coffee drinkers might be doing other things that keep them healthy. Eating a more balanced diet, getting plenty of exercise, sleep, not smoking, or drinking too much alcohol. And finally, staying socially active. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Life matters. I'm so weak that I cannot work. I cannot read my Bible. I cannot even pray. I can only lie still in God's arms like a child and trust. These are the words of a man named Hudson Taylor, one of the greatest Christian missionaries who ever lived. His despair was caused by the Boxer Rebellion, which occurred in China in the year 1900. Hundreds of his fellow missionaries were killed, and Taylor was devastated emotionally. His health began to fail, and he feared death was imminent. Many good people have experienced what Taylor did, the dark night of the soul. You come to God, but your words fail you. The good news is that a comforting father doesn't need his child to express words. He just needs the child to hold on. Remember, friend, nobody loves you like Jesus, and nobody understands what you're going through like he does. Call on him. He's ready to help and hold you tight. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Life matters, and so do you.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Day one of the NFL draft is tonight. Our man Langston Moore is in the house right now. He has experience being drafted. He also still watches a lot of football in his time, too. And Langston, before we get to anything like tonight, Preston and I are kind of working on a theory.
Okay.
Brandon Cisse is going to be the first Gamecock selected.
I like it. I like it.
Jalen Kilgore will have the better career.
Yes, I can agree with that. Now, again, talking about my experience, would you rather come in 2 years, make the $1 million on a over-projected draft pick, or would you rather have the long, lengthy career and get it the right way? He definitely feels like Cisse is going to, make the splash, probably get somewhere where they use him like a nickel, something like that, kind of that rover deal. But it definitely feels like Swain's going to have the longer deal, the longer arms. Be one of those dudes where they just put on maybe the left side of the field, not the main corner, but one of those dudes they can be like, oh, he's been there for the last 6-7 years. Similar to like maybe like an Andre Goodman, somebody who came through here where like got drafted in the second round and played for a really, really long time at a high level.
And then for tonight, too, I love asking people that watch a lot of college football, like, who do you think is the best overall football player? Like, Mendoza's going to be taken number one because he's a quarterback, and we know the value of that position. But if you had the number one pick and quarterback was just not an issue, and you could take anybody in this draft.
Try not to put my defensive line guys on because I like the Bailey kid from Texas Tech. I mean, I know he's a little bit undersized, but just has like that pass rushing deal. Then I saw him do like a vertical deal where the guys aren't jumping out the pools anymore, but he jumped like 50-something. Like they set the box up to his eye and he exploded up to that. That's just stuff you can't kind of coach and teach, and just seeing him. But I know he's a little undersized. Maybe the Love kid, just because I fell in love with his profile, his dad, and just because, I mean, you can get running backs by committee a lot now, but like that dude is like kind of like a dynamo, a touchdown waiting to happen, obviously, and he's always been doing that at the high level. Notre Dame, I mean, even back to a couple years ago when we played them in the bowl game, like, all right, we know what they're going to do. 2 tight ends, here they come, and you still can't stop it, and they're still creative with it, and they don't do it like on the perimeter. They're getting it in between the tackles, getting it on it. So I like the Love kid.
Does the Ruben Bain T-Rex arms, does that bother you? Or does it matter?
And being pear-shaped.
As somebody who was the opposite, I had, what did they tell me? You got arms like you should be 6'4", but you only like 6'1", and so he has the opposite deal. He's a little bit taller, but shorter arms, but his production is there. It's just dirty pool what's going on right now. And again, I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals are in on this somehow, some way of just like the reports, because somebody's trying to push down the value of some of the defensive ends. Like we talked about, there's not a lot of defensive tackles, but the defensive ends, it feels like they're trying to push the value down. So if the Bengals invested in a defensive tackle, we don't have to get that. Maybe we can get Ruben later in the second round, or maybe his partner. I feel like there's somebody trying to get one of those dudes to just push the value of those running backs down, because it's not a lot of value with the tackles, but there's going to be a run on, I think, wide receivers here in the first round. There's going to be a run of a few offensive tackles here in the first round. And then you're going to be like, oh, Who's the other? Oh, those two kids down there at Miami. Let's get one of them. And that's where you're going to see somebody that's a playoff contender needing another pass rush or something like that. I think that's what's going to happen. But no, I don't have a problem with short arms because the production is there. It's just one of those deals like you don't make it in Miami and under that coach if you can't really play ball because he's going. I'm sure. He heard it every day from,
come on, T-Rex.
Man, with them little short arms, man. I don't even know why I recruited you. And after a while, they'd be like, man, we can't say that to you. He's a dog. Man.
You even reach the top shelf.
That's right. They'll do something like that. They'll put something high in the meeting room, be like, come down here and reach this up here and be like, you know what, coach? I'm not playing these games no more. But we just call that love, right? That's the only place you can do these things in the locker room, Preston.
Very true. It's very true. That's what my coach did to me.
The other thing, too, like, Dallas Cowboys at 20. Like, there's like two different edge rushers that I think, like, in any other draft, if they were 22 years old, would be top 10 picks. And that's Akeem Mesidor from Miami and then Cassius Howell from A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that matters as much in the NFL. I understand, older guy playing against younger players might kind of change how you evaluate them. But when you just watched what Mesidor did in the playoff, I think that guy is one of those. I think I'd still take him incredibly high in this league, regardless of age. You still got to be out there and be a dude. You're still playing against, big boys on the offensive, line of scrimmage.
Right, and again, Mesidor went through the paces every day of his crazy offensive line coach. He's not going to. You don't get to go to a coach that used to have that pedigree and have this foo-foo-y, touchy practices. Even with no pads on, your shoulders are bruised up. All of those different things. Cassius Howell the same way. A little bit older kid, saw him down there. I get the fortune of being in Dallas, and I get to work out at this phenomenal place called Exos, where all the great draft picks go, and then they put all the old guys over here, and we're just doing Pilates and doing our geriatric stuff. So I get to watch the future, and I'll be like, this is going to be you soon if you don't stretch. But I saw Cassius, and he is a specimen, but he's also a grown man. And so, like, are we getting to the point where we're going to get a mature player, but are we going to tap out and get him at the height of the career on his rookie contract where there's probably not going to be much more to what he is. He is who he is at this point. But the Cowboys, they fumbled the defensive line play a lot this year, and so I wonder if they're just going to do it again in the draft tonight.
That's Langston Moore. Coming up next to kick off third hour of the show, my man Teron Davenport from ESPN joined me yesterday. Hear what he had to say about tonight's first round, his evaluation of Brandon Cisse and Jalen Kilgore next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Preston here for our friends at Integrated Media. Listen, tonight would be a great night to have your whole setup ready. You can hear the draft picks call. Maybe you hear Brandon Cisse at the end of the first round. Whatever works. But you haven't called yet, so there's still time because there's still a lot of things happening, and the folks from Integrated Media can help you get set up. What do you need? Sonos TVs, Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, or you want to control all your devices from just one remote. Does not matter. The folks from Integrated Media can help you out. From home theater setup, adjusting your thermostat, monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is who you need to call. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
At Lexington Brain and Spine Institute, we treat a full range of conditions, from back pain to spine injuries and brain tumors. Neurosurgery, pain management, physiatry, and physical therapy all working together. Visit LexingtonBrainandSpine.com.
Sponsored by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Plus tax and title with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. Holy cow! JT's Jeep Ram has new Grand Cherokees from $29,990. How about $5,000 more for your trade? 0% for 72 months. A million-mile warranty on every new JT's vehicle. Even if your credit's a little cockeyed, JT will get you approved and save you money too. Drive a new Grand Cherokee for $29,990 with a million-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Declaration of Deal Sales Event.
Learning to drive, getting married, the birth of your children. These are the life-changing events you remember your whole life. I'm Jason Reynolds. A serious injury changes your life too, in a very different way.
I'm Stephen Samuels. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we get you. We can't erase the injury or change the past,
We can get you through the pain and anxiety and help you on to a brighter future.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Average Amy's. Our coffee has caffeine and our muffins are cooked.
You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Cumulus Digital outperforms industry benchmarks by over 25%. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot. Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Accident I-20 eastbound at Monticello Road. Also I-26 eastbound just after I-77. That'd be exit 116. We do have an accident there as well. So a couple spots to be mindful of. 88 today and tomorrow with sunny skies. Again, today we keep mentioning the air quality alert due to some wildfires in Georgia. So there's going to be a haze out there. If you have breathing issues, might want to kind of think twice about being outside too much today. When we get to Saturday, 85 with some afternoon showers. Right now, it's actually 57 on 107.5 The Game.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Early Game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network and streaming on the 107.5 The Game app.
The Early Game third and long hour starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He is Preston Thorne. She is Jen Jensen. And to kick off the third hour of today's show, I could not think of a better person to have, especially on the third and long, the Early Game third and long hour, because if it's third and long, you're probably needing to go deep. And why not call up a former wide receiver? My man Teron Davenport from ESPN is joining us right now to talk about tonight's draft, specifically one player who we may or may not hear their name, but maybe a couple players that from South Carolina who can give some really good value to an NFL team. Teron, appreciate your time as always, my man.
Hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I mean, look, for those who don't know, don't follow Teron. Teron is one of the best evaluators that's in the game right now. And usually I like to bank a lot of my expertise here off of Teron to see exactly if I see exactly what people who've been doing this for a long time see when it comes to the game of football. And Teron, I kind of want to start when it comes to evaluations, are really the two South Carolina players that have the best chance of being taken in the top 3 rounds. Brandon Cisse has kind of been mocked all over the place. You know, early in the draft process, I saw him more in the first round, which made me kind of optimistic we might see him tonight. But here in the last week or so, he's kind of slipped into the second round. I wanted to start with Brandon Cisse before we get to Jalen Kilgore. But what's kind of your read on where Brandon Cisse goes, and what do you like specifically about his play?
Yeah, I think with Brandon Cisse, what you're looking at is a guy that will probably go mid to late second round. He's in that second cluster of cornerbacks. I've seen reports where some think only one cornerback will go first round, and that's because of Jamal McCoy's health stuff. But whatever, I still feel that he's a guy. You're drafting him. You're drafting it based off of like the athleticism that he brings, the testing that he did, but he even showed it on the field. And I think he's someone that is still a developmental cornerback. There's to me more to his game than what you're seeing initially. And the main thing, like, for him is just to be able to, you know, improve his man coverage skills. Obviously, you know, that's something you're going to be asked to do a lot in the league. But the thing I love about him is how disruptive he is, the press coverage. You know, he's a guy that's going to come up and he's going to get in that receiver's face, and he'll sit on some of those short routes and try to pick those off. I do like that. But, you know, to me, just being able to, track the football. That's something that he has to be able to do. Just the ball skills themselves, like that's the biggest area for improvement. But I mean, we have a guy he's darn near 6 feet. He's more than willing to play against the run. So all of those are things that you gotta like about a cornerback. And I always like corners that are willing to tackle, because that's what you need, in run defense. And even just with these screens and things that you see a lot of the offenses doing, you got to have that power to come up and blow up the receiver and or the blocker, whether it's a receiver or a tight end, whoever it may be, and tackle that guy catching the screen.
Yeah, it's one thing I've always loved about watching him play is I think he does play with a lot of pop, right? I think that definitely shows. And I think when it comes to maybe being able to, like, most of his forced incompletions come with him being able to get his hand in there and the physicality to kind of make sure that if you're a receiver, you better hold on to that football, because he's going to be pulling for it whenever that ball gets there. When it comes to Jalen Kilgore, my biggest theory, Teron, you tell me if you think I'm off base here, but when it comes to Jalen Kilgore, a guy who led the SEC in interceptions in 2024, he gets that hamstring injury in the first game against Virginia Tech this past year. I don't think he was ever fully the same, but we saw glimpses of it. If his years were in reverse, if he had that injury in 24 and had the season that he had this year in 24 and had the year that he had his sophomore year at South Carolina last year, I think he would be either a first-round pick or a first half of the second-round pick, because I think that guy is just about as good as almost any safety that you might find in this draft outside of like your Caleb Downses and players of that nature.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with him, even though he had, quote-unquote, a down year, he still had 2 picks, 10 PBU, so it's very clear. Like, he's getting it. Anytime you get in double-digit pass breakups, you're a guy that knows how to find the football, right? You could be able to, like, your coverage isn't something that should be questioned. So I think you have that. But here's the thing for me. When you look at the guy he kind of slotted into that low overhang star role in place of Nick Emmanwori, and what he's done, like if I'm Jalen Kilgore, I'm telling Emmanwori, like, bro, thank you so much for helping me. Because you see the role that he played with Seattle, and you've already heard Robert Saleh here in Nashville say, man, like, that's what I want out of my nickel. And he kind of, I'm not going to say reinvented the nickel position, because he definitely didn't do that, but he put it back on the map, where you have guys. And I talked to Rand Carthon about this last week, and he mentioned some of the guys in the league, Derwin James, as an example of that hybrid, right? And that's what teams want. They want that guy that could cover against, the smaller receivers, match up with tight ends, a guy that can have the physicality against the run, in essence, be a linebacker in sub package. And that's what Kilgore brings. I really enjoy watching him play. He's someone that, I love the fire that he plays with, his length, even though he's not like 6'3", you know what I mean? Like Emmanwori, you're still looking at a guy that's just, just under 6'2". And again, he's long just on the field, like he has a presence. And I think, when you watch him come up and play the run, he thumps, and this is a guy that you could blitz off the edge. He is what exactly you want when you're talking about that nickel position. And also you look at just the range that he has in zone. I think he's a complete player, and whoever gets him is getting someone that's going to be hugely impactful and just a part of just where the NFL is going, right? You look at how these these move tight ends, where it's like, look at Eli Stowers, right? You know what I mean? Like those types, the Kenyon Sadiqs, those types that you just move all over the place. They're the ones, you look at Kyle Pitts, right? That's already in the league. You need somebody to answer those matchups, right? And that's usually a matchup problem for you. But when you have a Jalen Kilgore, it's not as much of a matchup.
Would it be safe to say that, just because of that evolution, that might be a good chance for Jalen Kilgore maybe to slide into the late second round? Or you think he's kind of, a team's going to be keeping an eye on him by the time we do get to day 2, and they're just kind of making sure that they can get him at a really good value?
Yeah, if he doesn't go on day 2, I'll be shocked. Because anytime you have someone that size, and also have that speed that he has, he's a 4'4" guy, 6'2", darn near 210, 215, whatever he weighs in at, 210. You know, so you're talking about like a guy that's big and fast, and we know height, weight, speed always makes the evaluators happy, and that's what they want.
Teron Davenport's on with us right now from ESPN. And Teron, since the first round is tonight, I wanted to get pick your brain here for a couple of minutes about some of the players in this draft. And first of all, I'm really curious to see who you find as the best player, because that kind of varies, you know, for a while, for a lot of people. Yeah. I've seen Jeremiah Love thrown out there. I've seen maybe one of the Ohio State defensive guys. I'm a personal believer that Caleb Downs maybe isn't talked about enough as one of the best players in the draft. But if you had to just say the best player in this draft that will make the most immediate impact on an NFL team day one, who would it be?
Oh, it's easy for me. It's Jeremiah Love. I mean, look, here's the deal. In my mock draft on NFL Nation, you know, I picked Sonny Styles, but that's based off what we thought the team we cover would do. If it were up to me, like what I would do, I'm taking Jeremiah Love, and there's no conversation, because here's the thing. Tell me a shortcoming on him. There's no shortcomings. This guy could do everything you want. He's a 4.37, and that shows on the field. And then also, like, when I watch him, I get flashes of Reggie Bush. Now, I'm not saying he's as good of a college running back as Reggie Bush was. You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, you look at the spin move that he put on Pittsburgh and took off. You look at the way he's hit the sideline. I think it was against Syracuse. He hit the sideline, the left sideline, and he just accelerated down the field. You look at the ability, like, I watched him work out as a receiver at the combine, you know, after the running back drills, and even just watching him through the running back drills. It was like, okay, it was Jeremiah Love and then everyone else. Like, it just looked different. You know, and I think when you talk about a guy that's also willing to be there in pass pro, look, man, he's the most complete player. He's the top prospect. I don't think it's a conversation, and that's no slight on any of the other guys. But you look at it, you could say this or that about, David Bailey, he doesn't play the run well enough. Oh, Arvell Reese, he's a projection. Oh, Carnell Tate, he wasn't the best player on his receiving group. You know, there's so many Sonny Styles. Oh, well, he didn't have stats, you know, but you can't say any of that about Jeremiah Love. And he was, fourth in the nation in rushing, and that's split in time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and that's a whole nother plus. You're getting a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of tread on the tires, man. Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft, and I don't think there's a conversation to be had, honestly. Now, obviously, you know, Mendoza is a guy that you could bring up, but quarterbacks, to me, that's a separate conversation.
Mm-hmm. And last thing for you here, Teron, because you're really good at finding the hidden value, the hidden gems in these drafts, just from working with you for so long. But this year, who is this draft's hidden gem that you might find day 2 or day 3?
Hey, listen, man, I'm gonna keep it home in South Carolina for you, man. We're going with Rasul Faison. To me, you know, the contact balance that he brings, it reminds me of Alvin Kamara, right? And he's a guy that can catch the ball. He's proven to be productive. You know, obviously it didn't happen the way everyone thought it would at South Carolina, but Utah State, you know, this is a guy, and watching Jalen Royal, I kept saying, like, who the hell is that running back? And lo and behold, it's a guy whose dad I knew, you know, growing up. So it's funny that all that came around like that. But yeah, Rasul Faison is a guy I would suggest as a late round guy that's going to come in and help out.
Yeah, I see a couple of 7-round mocks that have him in the last round, so that could be some instant impact for somebody down the road. He's Teron Davenport from ESPN. Teron, I appreciate your time as always. Always love talking football and evaluations with you. Look forward to talking to you again here soon.
All right, for sure, man. Appreciate you. Take care, man.
From ESPN, and a lot of interesting stuff there. One that validated a Preston Thorne take from earlier this morning, where he talked about that nickel corner position and how that's kind of evolved in the NFL over the last few years. He mentioned Nick Emenwari as the perfect example, as the counteraction to those freakishly athletic tight ends.
He even mentioned Eli Stowers. And that's the exact same point. You said that this morning, and in my head I was like, oh, he's going to like this Teron interview then. Nice. But immediately, and then Rasul Faison as his late round gem, which I thought was pretty interesting too, because I know he mentioned it too. You know, maybe not the season that you wanted from him here, but you could see it when he talked about contact balance.
that is one thing I did certainly notice with Rasul was that he did a really good job of kind of maintaining his balance, and he's going to be a guy that might be picked in this draft.
I think with running backs, you never really know how it's going to turn out, and you just could point to like the idea of Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle was solid here.
He wasn't potentially leading the league in NFL or rushing yards.
Exactly. So that is something that obviously could happen. It's just a matter of getting your feet in the door.
And when it came to Jeremiah Love, too, I think his thoughts on him being the best player is shared through a lot of NFL draft circles. But then it gets to the thing that we mentioned earlier today. Are you willing to make him one of the 10 highest paid running backs in the league if you take him at pick number 4 or higher? That's a real conundrum, because if you look at Notre Dame's, rushing totals last year, Jeremiah Love had over 1,300 yards, almost ran for 1,400 yards on 7 yards per carry. And a running back behind him, Jadarian Price, had 113 carries.
Well, here's the deal. Some GM is going to solidify their future by making that pick if it's successful. And if it is successful, a lot of GMs are going to be kicking themselves that they didn't do it. I would fall into that category where I'd be like, I just can't do it.
Hesitant to do it, which I think that makes Jeremiah Love maybe the most interesting player to watch for tonight to see exactly where he goes. Because if you look at the rookie draft scale, if he went number 1, which he's not going to, but that's $9.9 million. Year 2, or number 2, 9.4, 9.1 million for the third pick. At number 4, it goes into 8.8, and then 8.2 at pick number 5. And again, if anywhere in the top 5, that would immediately make him for next season a top 10 highest paid running back in the NFL. So that's something to watch for tonight, considering many people think he is the best player in this draft. But coming up next, it's the early game, third and long hour goes deep, and we're keeping our series here on the draft. Part 3, drafting for need versus drafting for value. What is the best way to go when it comes to using your first round pick? Preston and I will discuss that coming up next.
Game Network, 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 96.9 The Game in Charleston, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Since that win at Clemson by the Gamecocks, things haven't gone well. And when things don't go well, it's time to look back on the days when things were well. Yeah. Let's spin back to the good old days on the Game Network.
Line drive, right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series.
Sellers in the pocket. Up in the pocket, gonna run inside the 20, 10. Lenore Sellers going left side, 5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown. Touchdown, Lenore Sellers. From 20 yards out, the Gamecocks take the lead at Death Valley.
Now that's some good feels right there. From 107.5 The Game and the Game Network. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Preston here for Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983, and it's helped everyone from weekend warriors to professional landscapers. The third-generation owner, Ben Cato, provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. And Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. How nice is it to walk into a store, talk to a person you know, a person that you know is willing to help you. At Cato's, they offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easier. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned landscaping pro, Cato's has you covered. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's Cato's Power Equipment at 803-254-3711.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Hendrick. Why shop for a Chevy or GMC the way you always have when there's a better way? Shop the nation's #1 dealer group, Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Thousands of car buyers across Columbia have switched to Hendrick for a larger selection, better pricing, and an easier buying experience. Plus, buy now but make no payments for 3 months. You don't have to shop the old way anymore. Experience the Hendrick difference.
With approved credit, see dealer for details.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
The future stars of the PGA Tour are coming to Columbia. The Colonial Life Charity Classic is bringing championship golf to the Wood Creek Club May 14th through 17th. Be there to experience the intensity up close as tomorrow's champions battle it out on every hole. Bring the family and take in the tournament atmosphere, excitement, and a full week of entertainment built for all ages. Don't miss your chance to witness the journey to the top. The Colonial Life Charity Classic. Get your tickets now.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
To make you aware of, and that is Old Orangeburg Road at Flat Springs Road. 88 for the high today and tomorrow, sunny both days. Today we do have that air quality alert because of those wildfires in Georgia. So could be a little more challenging for those with respiratory issues to be outside too much. And then on Saturday, 85 for the high. Might see some afternoon rain coming in. We do need it, so we welcome that. Right now it's 60 on 107.5 The Game.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Before the early game third and long hour goes deep, we have tickets to give away. 803-404-6100. Be callers 3 and 4. And you can win a family 4-pack to the baseball game against Kentucky on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Should be a lovely day. So callers 3 and 4 to 803-404-6100. And if you are one of those callers, then you will get a family 4-pack of tickets to the game on Sunday. But for the early game third and long hour goes deep, Preston Thorne, today we're talking about drafting for need versus drafting for value. And I kind of broke it down like this because there are some teams that do approach the first round by having glaring needs, but their whole thing is we just need to take the best player available. And that works for a lot of teams. There are a lot of franchises that have thrived doing that. You'll watch the draft and you're like, oh, well, why did they take that receiver? They already have, 2 really good ones. That's the best player available right now. Or a defensive lineman or an edge rusher. And it's like, I already have a pretty good edge rusher. They just go for the best player. But I've broken it down to a few questions. If you draft for need, this is the thing that I think if I was an NFL GM, I'd be asking myself. One, how glaring is the need? Let's use, for example, the Cincinnati Bengals. Their whole thing was they can't protect Joe Burrow, and that maybe limits what is a really good offense. That's a pretty glaring need. I would hate to pass up on the best available offensive line prospect in any draft, knowing that your quarterback has missed substantial time here in the last 3 years, and his injuries have kept you from the playoffs. Protecting him should be a pretty high priority. But that need might not be as glaring as other teams' biggest need, right? So one, how glaring is the need? Two, what's the salary cap situation like? You know, it goes back to the running back conversation. If you take Jeremiah Love in the top 5, you're going to make him one of the 10 highest paid running backs in the NFL for next season. Does it make sense to allocate that much money to that position? Would it be more efficient to maybe get or draft a player in a position where they're not one of the 10 highest paid in the sport at that slot? The third question is this a player that you simply cannot pass up / is there another player like this anywhere in the draft? You have to ask yourself that question too. And then lastly, can you get that same type of player later?
That's the question. Can you get that same type of player later? And it might not be the same player, but can you get, if the first round guy is a Lexus, can I get a Toyota later? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, yes.
And if I can, then me personally, I'm gonna get the Toyota. Also, I drive a Toyota, but
Toyotas rule.
I think that's where you have to think about as far as value is concerned in a salary cap sport. You're always thinking about what is my return on investment, what is the value for a specific player, and if I can get a similar player, maybe not the same, but somebody who's in the ballpark for a substantially less investment, then I would consistently make that choice as an owner.
And that's one of those things too. There are reasons that maybe a player, I'll use the edge rushing position for this year's draft class as an example. There are players like Cassius Howell and Romello Height. Romello Height's defensive end for Texas Tech. He played opposite of David Bailey, had a really high pass rush win rate, had a large sack total, kind of not like David Bailey because David Bailey led the country in sacks, but very high production just on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Cassius Howell was looked at as a first-round pick, at worst early second. Romello Height has a grade that's like third or fourth round. And I look at Romello Height, like if I can get that guy in the third or fourth round and I really want an edge rusher, I can take that swing on him if I have a more glaring need. Let's say my offensive line's really bad, then I might end up going offensive line at pick number, 20 or 21 or something like that, because I know I can still get somebody like Romello Height later. It's a very deep edge rushing class. There are a lot of Toyotas and a few Lexuses in this draft too. And then even, whatever step above that luxury car is, you have within maybe the first 10 picks. Those are maybe your David Baileys, your Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, guys like that, Ruben Bain. It is one of those things to kind of notice how bad and how glaring is the need for that edge rusher too. I think all those things have to be considered because I get both strategies here, and I'm one that kind of leans towards maybe drafting for need at certain spots. I think once you're in the top 10, that kind of goes out the window because you're drafting the top 10 for a reason.
Obviously, it depends on roster construction and roster buildup, but I think my mentality as a GM or somebody who's making those decisions is that in the NFL specifically, there's probably only about 4 or 5 people who are on this roster who are safe. Mm-hmm. Everybody else can get it. And what I mean by that is that if I was drafting and there was an opportunity if there was an opportunity to get a newer, younger, cheaper player at that same position, there's probably not too many players that I wouldn't draft. So like if there was a wide receiver that I had who was very productive, very good, but on a second contract, costing us a big salary hit, I would definitely look at going a younger, cheaper route, trying to replace him and trade back and get picks or whatever the case was. Just because it is such a salary-controlled sport, and that's something that you always have to be paying attention to.
The Los Angeles Rams are in a really interesting position like that, too. Like, you wouldn't look at the Rams and say wide receivers a need, right, at all. You have Puka Nacua, one of the best receivers in the league. Devontae Adams, really solid receiver. I've seen a few mock drafts that have them taking Mekhi Lemon from Southern Cal on that list.
Yes.
But those Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua come with a pretty large price tag. Maybe you can cut ties with one of those guys after the season if you do draft someone like Mekhi Lemon.
Oh, they already done it. Ask Cooper Kupp of how this works out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they let Cooper Kupp walk.
Ask that how that goes. And also with Puka having the offseason he's having.
Not a good one.
I think I would be in the market for a wide receiver also. Puka's awesome, really productive, but hey, you cost a lot and you're acting up off the field. Maybe we might need to develop a contingency plan. And I think that's because the Rams are a solid functioning organization. I think that's how it goes.
And they're picking at number 13 because thanks, Falcons.
Well, talk about solid functioning organizations, and then you have the opposite. Rise up.
And what's so wild now is I don't know if I've seen a draft trade age so poorly so fast, because they traded back into the first round with the Rams to get James Pierce. Speaking of guys who got in some really bad offseason trouble.
If only we would have maybe have seen this before. Dane Brugler, I'm sure, had a very long, extensive background check on James Pierce that did not check out.
Oh, I remember before that draft being like, wow, James Pierce was supposed to be like the number one pick, the preseason. And then teams are doing their due diligence, and there's a reason he was slipping in mock drafts the closer you get, because so many of these mocks are intel driven, right? It's the guys who are putting these drafts together that are calling organizations, and they're getting kind of the lowdown on guys, and there's a reason somebody might be falling like that. And the Falcons traded back into the first round. And he's probably one and done in the NFL. I would go out on a limb and say. But coming up next, we'll go from the gridiron to the racetrack, because the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge, our man Josh Harris, is next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
If the Gamecocks hit a grand slam, you can win cash. It's the Crescent Construction Grand Slam Giveaway. If the Gamecocks don't hit a grand slam, the pot goes up $25 a game. Just go to 1075thegame.com to register.
Sponsored by True Green. True Green, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
(803-771-9800) is the number to call if you are experiencing the stresses of that IRS maze, because the Ecton Law Firm and John Ecton are here for you. John has got a local team that's been resolving these income or business tax issues for good in the state of South Carolina, and they understand the challenges that you or your business can face when you do this for so long. You've seen about every single issue that somebody can have, and there's nothing that you can present to them that they have not worked with before. Again, get yourself out of that IRS maze today. 803-771-9800 is the number to call, or you can always hit them up online at EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTONLawFirm.com.
Plus tax and title with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. Holy cow! JT's Jeep Ram has new Grand Cherokees from $29,990. How about $5,000 more for your trade? 0% for 72 months. A 1,000,000-mile warranty on every new JT's vehicle. Even if your credit's a little cockeyed, JT will get you approved and save you money too. Drive a new Grand Cherokee for $29,990 with a 1,000,000-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Declaration of Deal Sales Event.
I'm Jason Reynolds. You may wonder if you're better off hiring a big corporate law firm with hundreds of lawyers, or should you go local?
I'm Stephen Samuels. With the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, you get me, or Jason, or Michael, or David. You have your own lawyer who can go toe-to-toe with anybody from big law to big insurance.
Here's how you know. Call 803-779-4000. You won't get a robot. You'll get Abby or Andrea or one of our other wonderful people taking your call. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, True lawyers.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Hey, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire and Automotive.
Last year's Technician Bikini Car Wash was a huge success.
But, unfortunately, Grease Lightning and Piston Pete left us for jobs at the club.
Don't worry, if you are feeling hot, we can still cool you down.
By fixing your car's AC for 30% less than the dealership charges.
And we have an $80 rebate on any set of Michelin or BF Goodrich tires until May 23rd.
Cool down online at PopeDavisTire.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health. Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Two accidents to make you aware of: Old Orangeburg Road at Platte Springs Road. One other one, Two Notch Road at North Grampian Hills Road. And we mentioned the forecast for today, 88 today and tomorrow, sunny both days. Now today we do have that air quality advisory out or the alert until about 8 o'clock tonight due to those Georgia wildfires. So keep that in mind today. And then some sunshine turning to showers on Saturday and a high of 85. Right now it is 60 with some haze from those wildfires on 107.5 The Game.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It's time to hit the racetrack. It's the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge with our man Josh Harris. And Josh, I know that we are collectively keeping Reggie down, but I am keeping him company because we're tied at 36 points right now. But Josh himself is on an absolute tear. Hit Kyle Larson, who finished second in the race in Kansas. That's good for 6 points. Shout out to Preston for taking Briscoe, finished third, and Reggie with Denny Hamlin, who finished in fourth. What was kind of your biggest takeaway from the race? Before we get into Talladega, your biggest takeaways from the race this past Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously you start with Denny Hamlin and how many laps he led again in a race, and unfortunately just didn't work out at the end for him to take the victory. You know, he and Tyler raced there over the last 10 laps. Reddick caught him, and they exchanged the lead, and Denny got it back, and then you had the Cody Ware spin there at the very end to bring out the caution and kind of reset everything. And I think once again, Denny, I don't know if it's an official record or not, but I think he's got to have the most races where he's led the most laps and not gotten the victory. I think that's one of the big takeaways.
I was going to say, I do know in overtime, since 2023, he has lost 6 potential wins in overtime, and then I guess has 1. So technically his net loss is 4 victories due to overtime. So overtimes don't serve him well if he is really in the mix to win the race.
He's Scott Frost of NASCAR. Oh, no.
Reminds me a lot of the championship race in Phoenix. You know, he led so many of the laps there, and a late race caution kind of changed the whole outcome, and you know, Kyle Larson was able to get up there and take the championship.
Well, it looked like getting out into clean air certainly was beneficial for anybody who, you know, had an opportunity to lead on Sunday. But definitely some things that were kind of mired in the back, like the Penske cars, they really struggled. You had Cindric, who did the best for them in 12th, and then Logano finished 30th. Blaney had some issues and finished 24th. Is that just sort of you think an anomaly? Because just to see Penske that far back just seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, right now, through the first 9 races, it certainly seems like Toyota has the most speed as an entire manufacturer. Whether it's Gibbs, whether it's 2311, you know, Legacy's running pretty solid. So I think Toyota has found something, and the other two, Chevy and Ford, are just a tick off. And unfortunately, sometimes a tick off makes a big difference. So I'm curious to see how that, you know, progresses through the year. Obviously, we're heading to a super speedway, Talladega, where you may not be able to tell as much. And then we go back to 1.5 miles at Texas. And then you go, you got Charlotte coming up 1.5 miles. So those will be some key, I think, indicators to see if Ford and Chevrolet can find a little bit more speed to catch up with the Toyotas.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, speed, and with the Toyotas, you know, Chase Briscoe towards the end of the race took 2 right tires towards the end, and literally helped him so much going from Briscoe took 4, and he had just enough grip, but that took him from 11th to 3rd, like in no time at all. So the speed, you're right, and with the Toyotas has just been absolutely incredible. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think,
go ahead.
No, I was saying, I think they've certainly got a little bit of a leg up right now, and that seems to happen some years where one manufacturer kind of starting the season, maybe they found something in the off season, and you know, eventually it seems to catch up a little through the year.
Mm-hmm. And we look at the point standings, and Joe Gibbs has 3 in the top 10. They're doing well. Obviously, 2311 doing exceptionally well with Reddick first in the points. You've got Bubba in 8th. So right now we've got a lot of strength at the top, and just some of the usual suspects maybe not running quite at the top of the points. It's a long season still ahead, but it's definitely 2311 just seems to be on a complete tear this season. Reddick especially.
They do. Yeah, Reddick especially, but you can't overlook, you know, Bubba Wallace is running strong. He hasn't been able to capitalize on the wins the way Tyler has. And you know, the 35 car is running pretty good. When they get Corey Heim in there, he's performing well. You know, you think about Corey Heim, he's having to, you know, go out in early parts of practice and qualifying, and that always seems to, the later you can go out in qualifying, the better you seem to do. So he's having to kind of start towards the middle, towards the back end of the races he's running, and then he's getting good finishes. So as a whole, that whole organization is looking really strong right now.
They absolutely are. So we moved to Talladega this week, had some changes as far as the stage lengths are concerned. I thought it'd be fun for you to kind of explain what their thinking is and how that is going to be restructured for the weekend.
Yeah, you know, at the super speedways, primarily Daytona and Talladega, they've really gotten into fuel strategy. And it's something that the teams are not going to unlearn. And the basis of it is they want to be able to, on their last pit stop, spend the least amount of time on pit road to gain track position. And ultimately, the idea of flipping the stage lengths is we're going to have a really long first stage, almost 100 laps. We know there will be at least one pit stop, maybe 2, depending on how the strategy works out. And then the last 2 stages are 45 laps. They can run the full stage on a tank of gas. So the hope is on that last caution, where stage caution break, where they have to come in and pit, then those stages, they don't have to worry about conserving fuel. So we'll see how it plays out. I know NASCAR's also announced they're going to do some testing in the preseason next year ahead of Daytona to work on some potential changes to the car and how it races at the super speedways. But this is something they can implement now in the middle of this season without changing the car.
And typically in that last stage at Talladega, there's usually at least one caution, so that kind of adds some fun to all of the fuel strategy conversations as well.
Yeah, it does. And in the past, the last stage was the longest. It was previously 60 laps, and then 68, and they would have to stop in all of those. They could not run the full stage length on a tank of gas, so you were having that fuel savings in every stage, trying to minimize the amount of time when they did stop that they would be on pit road. So I think that's the idea, is to say, hey guys, you're not going to need to make another pit stop after this stage break, so go race.
I love it. Absolutely. Well, let's go to picks. What do you think, Elijah?
That's right. So far, the standings. Josh in the lead with 54. Preston in second at 44. Jen with 42 in third. And then Reggie and I tied for last with 36. It's getting a little steep down here, but I'll take the first pick. Since Reggie's not here to defend himself, I'll take it instead. And I will go with someone who has won this thing 3 times at this track. I'll go Ryan Blaney.
Oh, see? And that was his first pick.
Good.
So you've already squashed him like a bug.
Good.
All is good.
That's what I wanted to do.
And that's a good pick. He's very strong there. So that will give Reggie William Byron. So we're good on those first 2 picks. So we go to, that would be me, right?
That'd be correct.
You know what? I'm struggling. I'm really struggling, and I think I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go Carson Hocevar.
I love a crazy pick.
Hasn't won there, but he's done pretty well, and I don't know. He's kind of good on super speedways, in my opinion. What do you think, Preston?
I'm going to take a long shot here. Double check my sources. Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Oh, Stenhouse Jr. Yep, he is quality at pretty much speedways. That's kind of his thing, so no question. That's a good pick. I'm surprised, actually. That's usually who Reggie ends up picking for a super speedway, so it'll be fun to see. So that takes us to Josh.
So many good options on the board. Once again, we've got the opportunity for somebody to pick the guy that's won 5 out of the 9 races, and so far no one has.
Ready?
And I'm going to bypass him as well. I'm gonna keep with my super speedway pick. It's eventually going to work out. I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski.
He's won 5, so if anybody can do it, he certainly can.
Yeah, certainly a strong track record there. Pun slightly intended. He's Josh Harris. This is the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. But coming up next, we'll give you our winners for today's show, brought to you by the Golden Spur.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out our sweet deals, like $50 worth of great eats from Grill Marks for just $25 and a 6-month membership to the YMCA for half price. It's all at 1075thegame.com.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Midnight Madness in the Twin Cities. Wyatt Johnston finally broke the deadlock at 12:10 of the second overtime, deflecting home a power play goal to give the Dallas Stars a thrilling 4-3 win over the Wild. Both teams traded chances for nearly 40 minutes of overtime hockey before Johnston's heroics silenced the crowd. Dallas takes a 2-1 lead. I'm Drake Toll.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
You know that Chick-fil-A sells more than chicken, right?
Hello, my name is Jaleesa, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is how it's all of my favorite breakfast items in one good bite. That fluffy egg, that melty cheese with that perfectly grilled sausage. It just gives you that warmth, that comfort food that you love. It is the best possible option for a classic breakfast.
Comfort is calling. Order a Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit with Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
This is the highlight of my morning. Hey, what's up? It's Island.
And I'm Josh.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit is that it's our go-to morning comfort.
And you've got that nice golden fluffy egg.
With a soft, flaky biscuit.
Crispy bacon.
Melty cheese.
You want something quick, you want something convenient, but most of all, you want something good.
There's no better way to start your morning.
There we go.
Start off the morning with a Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese biscuit with Simply Orange Juice. Order on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Big color, bigger savings. Sherwin-Williams Super Sale is here. Get 40% off paints and stains April 24th through the 27th with prices starting at $30.89. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter-churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home and auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It is more about them than it is about the team. Cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it. I want winners. Winners.
And every day we give you our winners for today's show, brought to you by the Golden Spur. And we have a lot to choose from today, some draft-related winners. But this came up earlier in the show, and it made me really nostalgic because we were talking about Darren McFadden and how South Carolina was just all over his highlight reel when he got drafted by the Raiders.
Yeah, that was a difficult time because it was all over. And I've heard stories about that game from players that were playing, and they were like, it was not fun.
That didn't look fun.
He was having a lot of fun.
There was one man on the field who was having fun, and that was Darren McFadden. But my winner goes to the Wild Hog offense as a whole because they would straight up just say, I can't remember who the quarterback was at the time. I don't think it was Ryan Mallett, but whoever was before Ryan Mallett, it might have been like Casey Dick or somebody like that, where they're straight up just like, nope, we don't need you on the field. We're going to have Darren McFadden take direct snaps and run a read option with 2 other NFL running backs that are in the backfield with Felix Jones and Peyton Hillis.
Definitely extreme college football offense. All the times that were cool, I'm sure Arkansas fans think about that time a lot. My winner is going to go to my second favorite Gamecock player, Eric Norwood, because he was phenomenal. When we talk about guys that rocked in college football, he is right there in the nexus of he went to the league, didn't have a great league, had a solid, I think he might have won a Canada Cup. I think he went up there and won a Canada Cup.
Oh.
So he did do well in that. But the thing about Eric was that while he was playing, his name was painted in the stadium. So he could look up, take a snap, and then look up at his name because that's how good he was. That is amazing.
That's a flex.
You see me up there?
Tackle somebody in the middle of the game. Like, look at that. Look at that. Got tackled by that guy right there. Eric Norwood, definitely a winner. Another winner for today's show, Sam Bradford. Because of you, Sam Bradford, now we have a rookie pay scale, right? There's a reason now that if you were the #1 overall pick, so Fernando Mendoza tonight, when he hears his name selected by the Raiders, we already know that year 1 salary is going to be $9,921,000.
Yay. Awesome. Really cool. But Sam Bradford, I believe the number 108 sticks in my mind, and that may not be the number, but I think Sam Bradford got $100 million. And that's when the NFL said, we can't. The other players said, we can't do this anymore.
What's funny is I think the year before that was when Matthew Stafford got selected #1 overall, and he had the record at the time. Sam Bradford broke his record. But with Matthew Stafford, I remember being like, oh, that's fine because he's going to be really good. With Sam Bradford, that was the straw. Stafford was doable for the Players Association. They got to Sam Bradford, and that was it.
And it was just because those sleeves were so baggy. It was the jersey.
It was dorky looking.
People saw him trot out there in that jersey, and they were like, he can't be $100 million man.
6 years, $78 million with $50 million fully guaranteed.
That's what it was. What it was the guarantee. They're like, no, we're not doing that.
$50 million fully guaranteed for a rookie quarterback.
Nah, yeah. Shout out to Sam. You were a winner just by proxy, just by being born when you were. You did it. Shout out. First round picks are cool. But day 3 is where the draft this is where the draft starts. That's where the value in the NFL comes in. And that's where you see guys who really get an opportunity to make their dreams come true. So, yes, the first round is awesome. But the real fun of the draft starts in day 2 and 3. So anybody that's day 2, 3 guy, shout out to you. You're a winner.
Shout out our pal Langston Moore, who would have been a day 3 guy if they had 3 days of the NFL draft. He is spiritually a day 3 guy. And also shout out Langston Moore because when we did our draft of day 3 guys in the history of South Carolina football who were drafted on that day, I took Langston Moore with my last pick. And since I didn't have a lot of offense there, I had Ryan Suckup and him. Langston, you're going to have to be carrying the ball. You were not asked to do this in college. I'll ask you to do something you have never been asked to do. But we're going to teach you to run north-south, not east-west, and we're going to gain yards. So shout out Langston Moore.
Not sure if there's a direct correlation, but maybe a callback to that wide receiver room with the Rams. But Pharaoh Cooper, another winner, and I'm wondering if Pharaoh sort of got moved away by Cooper Kupp, who was then succeeded by Puka Nacua, who there might be a pattern we're recognizing here with the Rams.
The Rams are never wrong; they're just a little early.
They're just early,
and that has bode very well for them over the last decade plus. Another winner for today's show, cheap franchises. Because Langston Moore played for 3 of them in his NFL career. And if you've been keeping up with the Portland Trailblazers stuff, their owner is making support staff check out of hotel rooms 6 hours before game time because they don't want to pay a late checkout fee.
Yeah, it doesn't tend to work out. That's not how it tends to work. There seems to be a direct correlation between how franchises do things.
Yeah, that is a winner for the show and humor purposes only. Tyler Head, he's a winner in real life. He's next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Sponsored by SC Education Lottery. The South Carolina Education Lottery encourages all of their players to learn about your play before you pay. To learn how the odds work, common lottery myths, and the signs of problem gambling, check out